Part 73. First Marriage Then Love, Mr. Mayor Please Be Kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 748. Please remember the website address, please contact your QQ group. Hey, Zhou Mikang sighed heavily as an answer to Chu Xia's question. Zhou Mikang. Chu Xia looked at him seriously. In the eyes of you men, is it normal for a woman to stick to a man to the end? No, Zhou Mikang shook his head, I'm not that narrow-minded. The company commander's wife was too impatient. She got married just 2 months after he left. Moreover, the company commander's son's surname was changed. Because of this, the company commander's grandmother was so angry that she became seriously ill. The organization also talked to the company commander's wife, but the result did not change. The company commander's wife said that she could not live alone with her child. If the child did not change his surname, the man she married would not be good to the child. She said that when the child grows up, she would tell the child the truth. If the child wants to change his last name back, she won't stop him. Can the company commander's family keep the child and raise it? The company commander's parents died when he was very young. It was his grandmother who raised him. At that time, my grandmother was already over 80 years old. It was simply impossible for her to raise a great-grandson. Therefore, I could only let the company commander's wife remarry with her children. The organization once sent someone to secretly investigate the company commander's wife and found that she was very good to the child after remarrying, and the child's stepfather was also very good to the child, so she was left alone. I see. Chu Xia nodded suddenly, and then couldn't help but sigh, speaking of which, the most pitiful thing is the company commander's grandma. By the way, is she okay now? It's okay. The old lady is in good health and now lives in a nursing home. Our comrades in the company take turns visiting her, and they all treat her like their own grandmother. Have you gone to see it too? Certainly. Then why don't you take me there? Chu Xia stared at him dissatisfied. You still don't believe me and treat me as an outsider, so you don't let me participate in your social circle. Zhou Mikang looked at his little wife with a dark look. Can you stop thinking so complicatedly? I haven't seen Grandma Wang since I met you. If you are willing, I will take you to see her when you come back from the capital. Okay, Chu Xia nodded and continued with 100,000 whys. Why haven't you visited the company commander's grandma for so long? Is it because you married a daughter-in-law and forgot about the old man? No. Zhou Mikang was so angry that he knotted her forehead. Am I so worthless in your eyes? At first. It was because the Zhou family had gone through so many hardships, and was later sent to guard the area. After returning, they were as busy as a top every day and never took any time out. Don't think this is an excuse. The main reason is that the old lady lives far away. It takes about an hour and a half to drive there, and about 4 hours to come back. Several comrades live there. I often go over to take care of the old lady, so I have nothing to worry about, but even if you don't mention it today. I also plan to visit the old lady in a few days. Of course, I will take you with me. What does the man married to the company commander's wife do? Chu Xia consciously changed the topic. However, it is also a topic that the group leader doesn't like to discuss very much. She's an ordinary worker. She said she would never marry a soldier again in this life. She sighed heavily. The regiment leader Tongza looked at his young wife and said, Chu Xia, I don't necessarily want to pick on Leader, it's because we all see how good the company commander is to his wife. We don't ask the company commander's wife to stay a widow for him, we just think that because the company commander treats her so well, it makes sense to wait until the company commander's anniversary to remarry. Chu Xia could understand Zhou Mikang's current mood, and although she didn't know the company commander, after hearing what Zhou Mikang said, she felt that the company commander's wife had gone too far. Of course, maybe the company commander's wife feels that if the company commander is really good to her, She shouldn't trade her own life for the lives of others. Making that choice means that they are not the most important thing. Then, why should she put him in the most important position? Although this explanation is a little unpalatable, it is the most realistic reaction of some people when encountering this kind of thing. She does not agree with it, but thinking about what the company commander's wife did, it seems to be the most reasonable one possible. From a woman's point of view, especially from the later generations, she can understand it, but men of this era will never understand this approach. But, Chu Xia looked at Zhou Mikang, she did that and no one scolded her. Yes, Zhou Mikang sighed, it's not just an ordinary scolding, but she still went her own way, and later on, no one paid attention to her. Speaking of this person, it's really confusing. In the past, the company commander was so kind to her, but she always shut him out. Even if the company commander came home late because of work, she was not happy. The worker she married now came home late from playing poker with his co-workers after get off work. But they happily made midnight snacks for each other. Don't you know there's a word called being mean? Chu Xia patted him comfortingly, if you can't interfere with other people's lives, don't think too much about it. Or, this is the happiness she wants, right? Zhou Mikang smiled at his young wife, my wife is still smart. Even the rest of us couldn't figure out the problem, but my wife hit the nail on the head. I'm an outsider. I just listen to what you say without any emotion. Of course I can sort it out more clearly. Chu Xia said while yawning, I'm sleepy and I won't talk to you anymore. After the words fell, someone a little head tilted and he actually called out, leaving the group leader speechless. Early in the morning, Lu Zhenqiang came again, bringing with him a thermos bucket that was extremely rare in this era. Behind him was a girl of 18 or 19 years old. She looked pretty, but unfortunately she always gave people a thief look. Slipping feeling. That's Lu Zhenfen. Seeing the two people coming in, Zhao Qian introduced to Chu Xia in a low voice that in this house, she was most familiar with her sister-in-law's family. Therefore, every time she got out of bed to move around, as long as Chu Xia was at home, she would always follow her. Around the other person. Guessed it. Chu Xia nodded and turned her eyes to Lu Zhenqiang's brother and sister. They had already greeted each other all the way. It could be seen that Lu Zhenfen was obviously nervous. But even when she was in a nervous state, her eyes were still so unpleasant. Sister-in-law, this is the bodybuilding soup our mother made for you. Drink it while it's hot. When she got closer, Lu Zhenfen opened the lid of the thermos bucket while talking to herself, and the fragrant smell of chicken soup overflowed. She looked at Chu Xia, can you give me a bowl? Okay. Chu Xia waved to Xiaojing, bring a bowl over here. After a moment, Xiaojing brought 2 bowls over, but Lu Zhenfen took one and handed the other back, one is enough. After saying that, he directly picked up the bucket and poured soup into the bowl. He also muttered, sister-in-law, my mother has been busy for half a night making this soup. There are also medicinal herbs in it that can nourish the body. I want to take a taste, but my mother won't let me. I don't want to drink it now. Zhao Qian frowned unconsciously when she saw the thick layer of oily flakes on the chicken soup. She had been drinking chicken soup every day at Zhou's house these days, but there was no oily flakes on it. And she didn't know whether it was because she was used to the chicken soup that didn't contain oily flours, or because of her health, but now she felt terribly sick when she saw this chicken soup with oily flours. You guys chat slowly, I'm going to eat. Chu Xia stood up quickly, sister, I will save the meal for you. Summer. Before Zhao Qian could say more, Lu Zhenqiang stopped her, Yan'er, this is the chicken soup made by mom. You can drink it? It's not that Zhenfen is reluctant to give it to your cousin, but... He glanced at his sister helplessly and continued, yes. Mom fell asleep while she was staying up, and that's all she had left. Hearing this, Zhao Qian stretched out her head to look into the thermos bucket, and immediately saw a black line. He poured out this bowl for her. The bucket had already reached the bottom. No wonder Lu Zhenfen only wanted one bowl. But, how could they have the nerve to bring just a little bit of chicken soup? Lu Zhenqiang, do you think it's appropriate for me to live in the Zhou family and eat and drink from the Zhou family? Zhao Qian stared at Lu Zhenqiang and asked. Of course not. Lu Zhenqiang said with a wry smile, I've lost my job now. I have to spend my family's money wisely. Yan'er, come home with me, okay? Impossible. Zhao Qian shook his head, what you did today makes me very disappointed. Originally, I only lived here because of my cousin's favor, and I owed a lot of favors to others. But as for you, you only brought me one. If you bring me a bowl of chicken soup, even if I explain it to others later, they will believe it, but it does not mean that you have done a good job. If the pot is really burned out, can't you make something else and bring it over? Regardless of whether there is a Zhou family or not, one's intentions must be shown, right? The way you are acting now is simply telling the Zhou family that you take their kindness for granted. Lu Zhenfen was the first to say, Sister-in-law, I really don't have any money. My mother made some calculations and said that by saving money, I can spend it on my salary. If I try too hard this time, I won't be able to live the rest of my life. My sister-in-law doesn't know how expensive firewood, rice, oil, and salt are, so if she really runs out of money and comes here to borrow it, her face won't be bright, right? That's not as good as how we behaved originally, right? This is really a strong statement. Zhao Qian stared at Lu Zhenfen speechlessly, really not knowing what to say to her. It happened that her mother and her father came over for dinner with her sister-in-law and uncle. When she saw Lu Zhenqiang standing next to her, her mother came over and said, Is Zhenqiang here? Mom, I'm here. Lu Zhenqiang smiled fawningly. My mother got up in the middle of the night to make chicken soup for Yan'er, but she fell asleep and the soup was a little short. Yan'er was not very happy. Mom, please persuade her. My mother really didn't mean it. This is really a setback. Zhao Qian looked at Lu Zhenqiang angrily and really wanted to throw a bowl of soup on him. To be continued. Domain name of this book, please tell each other to promote it. Thank you. Use the Ctrl+D shortcut key to bookmark it. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 749. One update arrived. Pingnan Literature Network. Zhenqiang. After staring at Lu Zhenqiang for a long time, Lin Xiahua said with a smile, I am a village woman, and I haven't gone to school for a few days. I used to be a bit of a fool, but I know that relationships should not be exchanged. Is such that. I don't believe you are knowledgeable and have been a county magistrate. Is this how you conduct yourself? If I can become the county magistrate in this way, then I can become the mayor, don't you think? Lu Zhenqiang's face turned red and he didn't know what to say. And, how can you talk like this? Lu Zhenfen looked at Lin Xiahua dissatisfied. My mother really got up in the middle of the night to make chicken soup, and she really fell asleep accidentally and only had so little left. Originally, my brother wanted to ask my mother to add some water to boil it, but my mother said that there would be no nutrition. She said that my sister-in-law needs to take good care of her body now, and she cannot fool her sister-in-law just to look good on her face. If my brother didn't feel sorry for his sister-in-law, he wouldn't have come to the door with chicken soup, knowing that he would be disliked. Originally, I was unwilling to come, but my brother said that if I didn't come, my sister-in-law would not come home. He said that he couldn't always let his sister-in-law live outside. There was no other way, so I could only drop what I was doing and run over here with my brother early in the morning. My brother's idea is that he is no longer the county magistrate, and has no plans to be the county magistrate again in the future, so he might as well just be a down-to-earth worker and a good husband who loves his wife. As for what others say, he doesn't care. He doesn't care, as long as his sister-in-law accepts his favor and is willing to be with him. Unexpectedly, no one would accept his love. I had known it would be like this. I won't accompany him to embarrass myself, brother. Just stay here by yourself, I'm leaving. Lu Zhenfen said and really turned around to leave. Lu Zhenqiang quickly grabbed her. Fernur, if you do this, I won't recognize you as a girl. If you are wrong, you are wrong. Why are you giving yourself so many excuses? Brother. Lu Zhenfen looked at her brother with an unconvinced look. So what if the Zhou family is powerful? Is it okay to look down on people like this? They think we brought too little and failed to do our best, but what about them? A big family was sitting there eating delicious food and drinking spicy food. Did you say hello to us? We don't rely on his family to earn our meals. Why should I humble myself to please them? Some people are willing to do this, but I am not willing to do it. Too despicable. You. Lu Zhenqiang looked at her bitterly. Fortunately, there were only Lin Ziahua and Zhao Qian in front of him, and everyone else had gone to the dining table. Otherwise, he really didn't know how to save the situation. What's wrong with me? Lu Zhenfen still looked unconvinced. If it weren't for this woman, you would still be the county magistrate now. It's all thanks to her that you are where you are today, so why should you please her? I don't believe it, you don't want to please her now. The Zhou family really makes it impossible for you to become a worker. Why? And why? In the past, when I was the county magistrate, I relied on my own ability. It was obviously their fault. Why do we still need to be so humble? Brother, from childhood to adulthood. I admire you the most, but you are like this now. It really makes me look down on you. We have the confidence to be rich, but we have the ambition to be poor, okay? Haha. Zhao Qian sneered twice. Do you think everyone avoids you because they don't take you seriously? I said, you really think highly of yourself, why don't they come over? Just to save face for you, me, and all of us. That's all. Is it possible that you still want people to come over and watch me drink a bowl of chicken soup to be taken seriously? Why? Who am I from the Zhou family? Who are you from the Zhou family? Lu Zhenqiang, I didn't have much self-awareness before, but now I find that compared with your sister, I am really self-aware. If you want to be more comfortable in the future, you'd better tell your sister some things. Clear? Not for you, even if it is for her to live a good life in the future, you have to let her understand that there is no absolute equality or fairness in this world. If she is so ignorant of herself, she will definitely suffer more than me in the future. I believe you should understand this better than me. Lu Zhenqiang also had a terrible headache when he looked at his sister. He had spoiled her. He has been dependent on his mother and sister since childhood, and he is nearly 10 years older than his sister. Therefore, his love for his sister is somewhat similar to a father's doting on his daughter. Because her daughter was a posthumous child, her mother doted on her sister very much. She didn't realize it when she was young, but now that her sister is older, her shortcomings are clearly exposed. She knows nothing about the world, and her own positioning is absolutely wrong. In her mind, all people in the world are equal, no matter who you are, even the chairman is the same, but in fact, is this really the case? Yes, as an independent person, everyone is equal, but if you think that everyone's identity is also equal, then you are really stupid. He really thought over and over again about today's matter before deciding to follow his mother's wishes. The Zhou family probably won't care too much about the loss of etiquette. What he wants is for his wife to go home with him. As long as this is enough, Zhou Mikang will not deal with him again. Then, surviving until retirement in peace is his goal. There was another reason for the current situation. His understanding of Zhao Qian was also skewed. If it were Zhao Qian in the past, she would only be extremely happy when she saw what he did today, and would never be unhappy because of his neglect of the Zhou family. He had always thought that people's nature was unchangeable. Now it seemed that he was wrong. Zhao Qian was really different from before. Moreover, the prospective father-in-law and prospective mother-in-law were also different from before. In the past, their attitude towards him was enthusiastic and respectful. In their view, he was the person who could turn his family around. But now, their attitude towards him has made a 180-degree turn. It's not that he can't give their family a chance to turn around, but that they really know what they want. In fact, for him, this is not a good thing. A couple who is greedy and obsessed with comparison is more difficult for him to resist than a sensible couple. However, when things got to this point, whether he wanted to or not, he had to accept it. Qian, I know I was wrong, but to be honest, right now, I really only have you in my heart, and it doesn't matter whether I have a good future or not. It's just that I didn't expect that you didn't like me doing this. I thought you would like me doing this, so I ran over regardless. If you don't forgive me, then I really don't know what to do. I don't want to hide my thoughts from you. I just want you to go home with me as soon as possible. We will get the certificate immediately and become a legal couple. I will never let you suffer any harm unfairly. In this life, I will only be kind to you. From now on, no matter who comes to seduce me, I will not take a second look. If I can't do what I said, I will die badly. Do you trust me and go home with me? Okay. Staying in the Zhou family like this is not good for you, nor is it good for your cousin. Even if you don't want to compete with her now, then you must care about her future life, right? You don't need to say anything. Zhao Qian interrupted him, if it were before, I would definitely follow you if you said that, but not now. To be honest, I had already decided to go back with you, but today once this happens, I really can't go back with you. If I really followed you, then I would have harmed my cousin. For her sake, the Zhou family took me in and let me recuperate here. But as a result, you don't respect them, but I have to follow you. You go, you say, if I really did that, would I still be a human being? Lu Zhenqiang, let's go. Come back when you figure out what to do. Of course, if you give up because of this, I won't say anything. Brother, did you see it? Lu Zhenfen snorted coldly and looked at Lu Zhenqiang. People have already talked about this, do you still want to stay here? You listen to me, I don't believe that the Zhou family can bully people like that. If they really dare to do that, I really dare to sue them, and our mother will definitely help you vent your anger. Lu Zhenfen, let me tell you something. Being confident is a good thing, but being too confident can be a bit scary. Zhao Qian sighed, okay, you go, and don't come here these days. The Zhou family is a place where I live, not a hotel. You can come and leave whenever you want. They let you come here because of my cousin's face, but I can't ignore my cousin's face and let her be disrespected in the Zhou family in the future. Get started. Zhao Qian, are you sure you're not pretending? Lu Zhenqiang looked Zhao Qian up and down with a look of disbelief. To be honest, until now, even if he saw the change in the other party, he still couldn't believe that this was the selfish person in his impression. Self-interested fat girl. Zhao Qian sighed, if you say this, it means that we are really not suitable for each other. Lu Zhenqiang, I will recuperate for a while and then go back to my hometown with my parents. You should also find a suitable person to marry. Don't worry, I won't do it again, it's you. If Zhao Qian had said this before, Lu Zhenqiang would have felt relieved. But now, he doesn't feel relieved at all. Instead, he feels like his neck is being tightened. It's a joke. If he really dares to do this, I guess that man can it cost him half his life. Thinking like this, he couldn't help but glance at Zhou Mikang, who was sitting there eating breakfast. He happened to look over as well. The moment their eyes met, Lu Zhenqiang felt like he was going to pee with fear. Noticing Lu Zhenqiang's little move, Zhao Qian's eyes darkened even more. It turned out that the person she chose was of such a level. Fortunately, she had thought that he was qualified to compare with Zhou Mixang before. At that time, she was really stupid. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 750. Brother, Jinlan has much better conditions than her. What are you struggling with? Lu Zhenfen, who didn't know her brother's suffering, stared at Lu Zhenqiang with excitement. The feeling was almost like winning 5 million. This is really a pot that cannot be opened. Lu Zhenqiang rubbed his forehead with a headache and looked at his sister. Lu Zhenfen, if you continue to mess around, don't ask me for living expenses in the future, and you should move out of the house immediately. Brother. Lu Zhenfen stared at her brother in disbelief. The brother who had cherished her as a treasure since she was a child actually wanted to drive her out of the house for this woman? In an instant, her eyes looking at Zhao Qian became even darker. If Zhao Qian hadn't lived in the Zhou family, she would have fallen out with the brother and sister long ago, but precisely because she was living there as a guest, she felt it would be too embarrassing to quarrel, so she kept suppressing her temper. Even if she is different now than before, it does not mean that she has become a soft persimmon. There are some things in a person's personality that are difficult to change depending on others. So, by now, her patience had almost reached its limit, so she looked at Lu Zhenqiang expressionlessly. If you don't want things to get out of hand, take your sister and get out of here. He had never seen Zhao Qian so angry before. Lu Zhenqiang hesitated and nodded to her. Okay, I will take her away now. You can calm down and I will come back another day. I told you, you don't have to come over again. That's impossible. Lu Zhenqiang looked at her steadily. You are the mother of my child, how could I not come to see you? I admit that it was a mistake to let Xiaofen come over today. Don't worry, I won't do this again in the future. Mistake? Brother, do you really want to kick me out of the house? Lu Zhenfen looked at her brother in confusion. Brother, you can't do that, right? Let's go. Lu Zhenqiang pulled her up. Let's settle our matters back at our house. Your sister-in-law can't be tired now. Let her eat early and rest. Brother. She shouted weakly, and Lu Zhenfen didn't dare to be stubborn anymore. Even though her family was poor, she had never suffered much since she was a child. If she was really kicked out of the house, she couldn't imagine what it would be like. Days. So. Seeing that Lu Zhenqiang was really angry, she became frightened. When Zhao Qian sat over to eat, no one mentioned anything about Lu Zhenqiang. Actually, anyone with eyes can see the interaction between several people. Even if you can't hear clearly what they said, you can infer from their expressions that they are almost inseparable. If it were Zhao Qiwi, everyone might be a little more enthusiastic now, but because of her previous unkindness to Chu Xia, everyone was nice to her just for Chu Xia's sake, and they didn't really accept her in their hearts. Therefore, at this moment, naturally no one would ask her about the specific situation just now. Of course Zhao Yulan and his wife and Zhao Yushui wanted to ask, but since this was at the Zhou family's dinner table, they naturally would not ask. This kind of atmosphere makes Chu Xia realize more clearly that she must work hard. People, it is better to rely on themselves than relying on heaven and earth. Now the Zhou family is good to her, and Zhou Mikang is good to her. However, if she no longer works, has no social status, and only hangs around dozens of people in this family, then one day Zhou Mikang will get tired of her, and the Zhou family will think that she is nothing more than this. People are so realistic. When you don't reach that step, others will say, we will always treat you well if you do that. But when you really reach that step, it's a different story. After breakfast, Zhao Qian stood up on his own initiative, bowed to all the elders, apologized, and then returned to his room. Zhao Yulan and his wife, Zhao Yushui, and his wife followed over and asked in detail what had happened at that time. Their expressions were a little solemn. According to the previous development, it won't be long before Zhao Qian can move back to the Lu family and live a down-to-earth life, but with such a fuss, there really is nothing to talk about. Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe were worried about Zhao Qian's future, but also felt that it was inappropriate to stay in the Zhou family like this. Zhao Yushui and Lin Xiahua really didn't know what to do. What if Lu Zhenqiang didn't want to work hard anymore and their daughter was stubborn and wanted to follow them? What should they do when they go home? When you say angry words to scare people, you can say you don't care, but in fact, how can you not care? They are not willing to just find a second marriage or a bachelor who cannot find a wife. Seeing the worries of the elders, Zhao Qian forced out a smile. Father, mother, sister-in-law, and uncle, don't worry, I'll be fine. Even if I can't get married, I'll be fine. Anyway, I have decided that no matter whether I marry or not, I will live with my parents. I can't be as good as Chu Xia, but I will always do my best and not let my parents feel that they raised me in vain. Sister-in-law, uncle, I know that the reason why I am still here and talking to Lu Zhenqiang confidently is because of you. It is you who I am particularly sorry for, whether it was before or now. Originally, I thought that I could marry Lu Zhenqiang properly and live next to Chu Xia, and there would always be a time when I could lend a hand. But now it seems that that day may not come. Lu Zhenqiang and I fell out because he didn't pay enough attention to the Zhou family. His lack of attention to the Zhou family means that he doesn't pay attention to your sister-in-law and uncle. I can't tolerate him treating you like this. So, I decided that if he can't show proper sincerity, I won't be with him. However, this will bring shame on my parents. I am unfilial to my parents. Silly girl. Lin Xiahua interrupted her, no matter what you do, my mother supports you, and your father also supports you. My mother harmed you before, but now my mother cannot harm you again because she is afraid of being embarrassed. Don't worry, from now on, my mother will no longer arrange blind dates for you on her own initiative, nor will she force you to bring glory to this family. It is enough for our family to have Chu Xia to bring glory to our family. If we meet the right person, we will get married. If we don't, we will stay with our parents. For the sake of our daughter, your father and I will work hard to live a long life. After dinner, Chu Xia and Zhou Xiangping went for a walk. When they came back, they thought about it and got up and went to their parents' room. Sure enough, they were not there. Thinking about it, you knew where they were. Thinking about the messy things that happened between Zhao Qian and Lu Zhenqiang, she felt a little worried, so she simply went to Mrs. Zhou's side and said, "Grandma, I want to come over and bother you for a while." "Come, Grandma, I wish you would bother Grandma every day." The old lady smiled and patted the place next to her. When Ying'er left in the morning, she said with an aggrieved face, "It's been a long time since she played with my aunt. Look at how much you are. You are popular, and you dare to say that others will annoy you." "Grandma, I like what you say." Chu Xia smiled and rubbed the old lady's arm. "I want to ask Grandma, what do you think about my cousin? It is not convenient for outsiders to talk about this matter. The key depends on the decision of the person involved. If she has feelings for Lu Zhenqiang, then it is not a bad idea to be together. If she is not heartless, it is better to find someone else. Old lady, I'm a lot older and I've seen a lot of people. That Lu Zhenqiang is not a responsible person. He is being nice to your cousin now because Xiaomi threatened him. If he has another chance to turn over in the future, he will definitely treat your cousin badly. Of course, the possibility of him turning over again is very small. I just say that there is something wrong with his character. Of course, maybe my old lady's view is a little biased. As Josei said, when I first met you, I was completely dissatisfied. On the contrary, I was completely satisfied with the people who should be dissatisfied. So, maybe my opinion is the opposite. I have a black streak on my head in early summer. Is it possible for me to be so black? Well, the old lady is mighty. I didn't get the answer I wanted from the old lady, so Chusia simply stopped worrying about it. In fact, there is really no accurate answer to this kind of thing. One thing the old lady said is quite accurate, that is, it depends on the person involved. Decision. Therefore, after seeing his father and mother coming out of the side room, Chusia didn't ask them about the outcome of their discussion. In fact, he knew it without asking. Now they are all entangled. Time is the best medicine for this kind of thing, so simply, just throw it away like this, and after a while, the answer will naturally come to you. Early the next morning, Lin Wenbin finally showed up. However, when he saw Chusia's family, he was obviously a little unnatural. It was true that he agreed to go back to the capital together, but he hid for 2 days and didn't see her. He said he was here to take care of them. In early summer, it is really unreasonable to take care of her in this way. Chusia already knew the real reason why he was hiding, but she didn't want to arouse his suspicion and make him uncomfortable, so she deliberately ran to ask him as before, why he came back now after hiding. After squeaking for a long time, Lin Wenbin's answer was naturally that he was busy or something. Chusia curled her lips secretly. Look, she felt guilty and could not even let go of the panic. As soon as she heard that, she knew that he was looking for excuse. Forget it, it's extenuating circumstances, she doesn't have the same experience as him. When the family left, Zhao Qian cried. Chusia could understand her mood, but at this time, he didn't know how to persuade her, so he stepped forward to hug her and whispered in her ear, "Sister, we will be here soon." Came back. Zhao Qian nodded and let her go. On the way, Zhao Yulan told Chusia about Zhao Qian's decision. She is going back to her hometown. Chusia looked surprised. Did you really say that? Yes, Zhao Yulan nodded. If her health hadn't allowed her to do so, she would have taken the car back today, but your father and I stopped her, and your second uncle and aunt wouldn't let her go either. Regardless of whether she could get along with this Lu Zhenqiang or not, you can't let your body get ruined, you have to bear all the blame. I really underestimated her. Chusia scratched her head in embarrassment. If I had known she thought this way, I would have gone to persuade her. No wonder she cried when we left. Well, hey, ours. We have been working hard to improve the reading experience. If you like it, please share it with your friends. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan Nuan. Chapter 751. Xia, my mother told you Qi Yan's thoughts because she didn't want to keep you in the dark. Glancing at Zhou Mikang in the driver's seat, Zhao Yulan continued, even if she knew she was wrong, if you want to change her mind, you don't owe her anything. You've helped her all the time and you've done all you need to do, so there's nothing to feel guilty about. Mom, this is the truth, but sometimes, an extra word of comfort can save a person a lot of detours. If she really returns to her hometown. After a pause, Chusia shook her head helplessly. Forget it. She only has herself to blame for this, whether she goes home or stays here, it's the same. Yes, marrying that Lu Zhenqiang is not necessarily a good thing. Zhao Yulan couldn't help but sigh, but if she doesn't marry, what else can she find? This road will lead her to a dead end. It all depends on whether we can help or not. Lin Wenbin, who was sitting in the passenger seat, looked at Zhou Mikang with a curious look on his face. Old Zhou, how did you scare him? Do I still need to scare him? I'll tell him the truth. If you want to be a vagrant, just follow your own heart. Everyone. Well, this is not a scare. What is a scare? If Lu Zhenqiang still dares not to marry Zhao Qian after hearing these words, he will be really brave. After a moment's hesitation, Zhao Yulan looked at Zhou Mixang. Xiaomi, I put you in a difficult situation. Mom, what's so embarrassing about this? Zhou Mixang turned around and smiled at her. If this kind of person, with this kind of character, really climbed up, I don't know how many people would be harmed. I am doing it for the people harmed. Xiaomi is right. Lin Baohe, who had remained silent, gave a thumbs up. Repeated again, what Xiaomi said is so good. This kind of person cannot be allowed to have power. Otherwise, all the people will be unlucky. Forget it. Everyone's destiny is destined. What will happen in the future depends on her own destiny. Zhao Yulan changed the topic. I haven't met Wenjia's wife yet, and I don't know what she looks like. Lin Wenbin smiled and said, we are a good match for Wenjia. If you didn't know better, you would have thought they were siblings. Anyway, they look more alike than Wenjia and I. That's really fate, Zhao Yulan said and couldn't help but look at Zhou Mixang. Noticing his mother's movements, Chu Xia hurriedly said, Mom, he and I don't look alike, so don't let him be arbitrarily arranged. They still look a bit alike, their noses are quite similar. Zhao Yulan said, poking Lin Baohe, look, their noses are quite similar. Lin Baohe nodded, well, it's quite similar. I've seen it a long time ago. In early summer, there is a black line on one's head. This really forced the two of them to look like a couple. The only similarity between her and Zhou Mixang's noses was that they both had high nose bridges. Nose shape or anything, there's no similarity at all, okay. Lin Wenbin was also amused by the couple and couldn't laugh or cry. Knowing what the couple was thinking, he didn't say anything to discourage them. The happiest? Of course, it must be Zhou Mixang. The father-in-law and mother-in-law think that they look alike to their little wife. It shows that he has an important position in the hearts of the father-in-law and mother-in-law. Regardless of whether it looks like it or not, is there anything happier than this? An hour later, the car drove into the Lin family's courtyard, and a crowd of people immediately came out to greet them. They paid enough attention to the Chu Xia family, especially Grandpa Lin, who looked at the family with eyes that were too complicated to decipher. Grandma, uncle, auntie. Lin Baohe walked over quickly and took the initiative to hold Uncle Lin's hand. Although the other party did nothing wrong in what happened last time, upon closer inspection, it turned out to be a bit unreasonable. It is estimated that the old man and the old lady were feeling uncomfortable during this period. If he, being a junior, did not show his attitude, the old man would the two of them probably still can't let go. Since we have already come, why make it difficult for the old couple? Therefore, he immediately showed his attitude and sincerity. He's finally here. Uncle Lin patted Lin Baohe's shoulder hard, with an excited look on his face. Uncle feels so ashamed, I'm afraid you won't come. Lin Baohe interrupted him, Uncle, look at what you said, how can we be so narrow-minded? We finally found you and Grandma, how can we be willing to leave you and Grandma again? Okay, okay, okay. The old lady wiped the corners of her eyes happily and pulled Zhao Yulan, let's go into the house and talk. Seeing that the lonely Grandma Lin kept looking embarrassed, Lin Zhiling sighed slightly, stepped forward to hold Chu Xia, and whispered, your grandma feels very guilty, and is embarrassed to admit her mistake. Chu Xia understood what she meant and nodded with a smile, we couldn't accept it at the time because it happened so suddenly. Now, we have already thought about it. Besides, if we really cared, we wouldn't have come here. Don't worry, sister-in-law, we have no problem with the eldest grandma, nor with the third uncle and 3 aunt. Lin Zhiling breathed a sigh of relief and said with a smile, that's good, there's no need to say anything deliberately, you and your family are all genuine, she will feel it. Chu Xia chuckled softly, Sister-in-law, you want to say that our family is full of people, and their emotions are shown on their faces, right? Absolutely. Linshilling admitted frankly. However, what I like most is this kind of personality. It's not tiring to get along with, and it's easy for people to get close to him. Sure enough, after entering the room, Zhao Yulan took the initiative to pull Grandma Lin to sit together. During the conversation, she did not mean to ignore the other party at all. After a while, the sarcastic expression on Grandma Lin's face disappeared. Chu Xia glanced at Linshilling proudly. Sister-in-law, do you know now that your worries are unnecessary? I haven't said anything to my parents. I've seen it all. Linshilling shook his head in amusement. I've been with you all the time, and it's not like my eyesight is bad, so how could I not know what you didn't say to your second brother and second sister-in-law? Yes, I was worried unnecessarily. In fact, I also knew in my heart that with the character of the second brother and second sister-in-law, now that I am here, I will not have any worries in my heart. But that's how people are. Even though they know it clearly, they will still be worried before seeing it with their own eyes. However, after this experience, I will never make this mistake again. Chu Xia smiled. Grandma is my sister-in-law's biological mother and daughter are connected. It's normal for you to be worried. Xia. Linshilling sighed and said. You are so promising, my grandfather and grandmother should rest in peace in heaven. Being praised like this, Chu Xia was still very embarrassed, so she said, how can I have any future now? Everything I did was achieved through external force. Where can I put my face when my sister-in-law praises me like this? Linshilling looked serious. You have generosity and wisdom that many people don't have. Because of this advantage, it is only a matter of time before you succeed. Moreover, this advantage can benefit the entire family. You should be clear about your uncle's feelings towards your grandfather. If you insist not to let your second brother and sister-in-law come over this time, they will never come. Then, your uncle will feel even more guilty than before. Chu Xia interrupted her helplessly. Sister-in-law, didn't you tell me not to mention this matter again? Why did you start it again? If you have to talk about this every time I come here, then I really won't come here in the future. Okay, okay. I won't talk anymore. Linshilling chuckled. Even if you don't mention it, I won't say it again in the future. This time it's because of what your grandparents did wrong before that I'm complaining about it. Moreover, I am really afraid of losing you as my little niece. If we go out on the street, others will definitely think that we are mother and daughter, right? Chu Xia nodded. My father and my mother said that my nose looks like Joe McSang's. What do you think they look like? My sister-in-law's noses are really similar. Haha. Linshilling smiled happily. Second brother and second sister-in-law said that because they hope you and Xiaomi will get along better as a couple. I hope you will get along beautifully. Silly girl, you will understand their thoughts when you have children in the future. When parents give birth to a child, they hope that the child will grow up quickly. When they grow up, they will worry that they will not meet the right person. Whether they are raising sons or daughters, they will have this worry. You see, my sister-in-law is now starting to worry about what kind of person Huang Su will find. Whenever I see anything unusual in his behavior, I start to worry about whether he is in love with some girl. Then, we tried every possible means to get the girl out of his mouth, hoping that he would bring the girl back so that your uncle and I could have a look at her. We didn't want to interfere with his freedom of love, but we had to check it for him. Even a boy will be seriously injured when he meets an inappropriate girl. Look at your eldest brother, it is a clear example. Why doesn't everyone urge him? I'm afraid he'll be sad. Brother's heart is really deep. Chu Xia couldn't help but sigh, looking at him looking easy to talk to all day long. In fact, he is really stubborn at heart. Sister-in-law, that classmate of eldest brother, how does he look? What's your personality like? Why can't you really let go of your eldest brother? Your eldest brother is stubborn and dedicated. When it comes to Wei Mian's appearance and personality, she is actually not particularly outstanding. She is above average, but... After a pause, Lin Zhiling said, it's just that he was the first girl your elder brother fell in love with, so he couldn't let go of her. Moreover, Wei Mian's life is not that good now. With your eldest brother's character. Frowning, Lin Zhiling sighed heavily, with your eldest brother's character, it will probably be even harder to let go. What should I do? Because she promised Zhou Mixang not to tell anyone about Lin Wenbin, Chu Xia didn't tell anyone that Lin Wenbin had met her first love. However, her worries became even heavier. Lin Wenbin is the best to her among all the Lin family members in Beijing. Of course she hopes that the other person can live a happy life. However, if a person can't let go of the knot in his heart and is forced to be with others, not only will he not be happy, but neither will others. Happy. Speaking of Lin Wenbin's matter, Lin Zhiling's expression also became worried. For the time being, we can only wait until he opens the knot in his heart, and then he will probably accept a new relationship. Of course, there is also a possibility that he has never met the girl he likes, and when he does, this hurdle will naturally pass. Aren't you and Zhou Mikang the same? Although our family had little contact with the Zhou family before, as Zhou Mikang is a leader of the younger generation, of course we all know him. Moreover, we all know what happened between him and Yamiru. Sometimes when we sit together and talk about it, we feel that with his conditions and pickiness, it is probably difficult for him to accept a new relationship in this life. But it turns out that we were all wrong. When he met you, all the obstacles in his heart disappeared without a trace. So, it's your eldest brother's business. There might be a turning point at any time. Hope so. Other than that, Chu Xia didn't know what to say. There are similarities and differences between the situations of Zhou Mikang and Lin Wenbin. Moreover, she has determined that there is no romantic relationship between Zhou Mikang and Yamiru, even though Zhou Mikang agreed to be with Yamiru at that time. At that time, it had nothing to do with feelings. The subsequent betrayal was difficult for him to accept because the man's self-esteem couldn't bear it. Coupled with the departure of his beloved little sister, he closed off his feelings. Although Lin Wenbin said that he did not have deep feelings for his first love, otherwise he would not have been unable to decide to get married at that time, but is that really the case? If Wei Mian was really having a bad life as he said, why was he so affected? But is it worth it? If you put it on others, he might say this about others. Pingnan Literature Network, but when it comes to himself, why can't he think clearly? He didn't dare to see her without telling her. To put it bluntly, isn't he afraid of seeing her just because he is afraid that she will ask about the progress between him and Yuan Hui? Having known her for so long, it's not like I don't know her character clearly. If he really doesn't like Yuan Hui, she will definitely not force him to have anything to do with Yuan Hui, then. Why are you still afraid of seeing her? People only think too much if they have a guilty conscience. Chu Xia. My sister-in-law knows that you and Wenbin have a good relationship, and she is worried about him. However, this kind of thing can only be realized by the person involved. Besides, he is not very old. With his intelligence, he will not let himself be deceived for the rest of his life. But you, do you really plan to go to school as soon as term starts? Lin Zhiling looked at Chu Xia with some worry. Twins, especially the firstborn, must be careful. I know. Chu Xia smiled at her. Sister-in-law, don't worry, I know what to do. I won't put myself in danger. If I stay at home every day and hold it in, I might actually be in danger. Okay, then I won't talk too much. Sighing, Lin Zhiling shook his head helplessly. People are so contradictory. I just said that your generosity and wisdom are reassuring, and then I worry that you are ignorant. If you don't understand this, you really think I'm talking nonsense. Sister-in-law, I appreciate it. Chu Xia pulled Lin's Hilling affectionately. If I didn't really care about me, how could my sister-in-law care about me like this? What I said is true, I know it. It's just that I have a tangled temper, and... After a pause, Chu Xia smiled sheepishly. I won't hide it from my sister-in-law. I always insist that it is better to rely on myself than anyone else. I know that both the Zhou family and the Lin family will do their best to protect me, but I hope that I can be a person who can accept and give, instead of just accepting without giving. If that really happens, my parents will become more and more tired. Therefore, I hope that when I am young, I can accumulate more knowledge and connections that are useful to me, so that I will not be left in panic when something goes wrong. Okay, Lin's Hilling caressed Chu Xia's cheeks affectionately. My sister-in-law knows that our family is different in Chu Xia. My sister-in-law raises her hands to agree with your decision. Thank you, sister-in-law. Chu Xia winked at her. Whenever I need my sister-in-law in the future, she must lend a helping hand. I am not the kind of old-fashioned person who only wants to move forward with my own abilities. If when I can borrow some help, I still like to borrow it. Okay, okay. Lin's Hilling was really happy this time. She liked her little niece's character and even more her niece's frankness with her. To be honest, just now she was worried that her little niece was too stubborn and she would be too stubborn in the future. I have hit too many walls, but now I feel relieved. As soon as Zhou Mikang entered the door, he was pulled over by Lin's Haidong and Lin's Hiliang, but he was always thinking about his little wife. He would glance over there from time to time. The Lin brothers were elders and it was not easy to tease him, but the smiles on their faces were it is getting deeper and deeper. The relationship between the niece and the niece-in-law is good, which is of course something they like to hear. Brothers Lin Wenbin, Lin Wenjia, and Lin Wengzia gathered together. The first question he asked was not Lin Wenjia, who was surrounded by happy events, but Lin Venhang, who had not been very happy before. My brother has a temporary meeting and won't be back until tonight, Lin Wengzio answered for her brother. Is there a real meeting or a fake meeting? Lin Wenbin snorted dissatisfied. I think he knows that what he did is not honest, and he is embarrassed to show up. Has nothing happened these days since we left? What is the big brother asking about? Lin Wengzio asked knowingly. What do you think? Lin Wenbin frowned and stared at him. If you don't want to talk properly, stay away from me. Brother is getting more and more angry, Lin Wengzio shrugged. Looking at Lin Wenjia, third brother. Have you noticed it too? Brother, nothing happened. After you left, the second brother left the next day. Huang Sui never came to our house again. She probably won't come until the engagement. Lin Wenjia did not answer Lin Wengzio's words and said to Lin Wenbin the questions raised were carefully answered. After a moment of silence, Lin Wenbin looked at the two little brothers. You have to distinguish between the inside and the outside. Chu Xia is a member of our Lin family. If Huang Sui does something, you can't hide it for Lin Venhang. Otherwise, don't think I disown you too. Brother, I'm sure it is, Lin Wenjia said. Brother, I am sure so. Lin Wengzia calmed down and looked at Lin Wenbin seriously. Although Lin Venhang and I are brothers, I will never cover up for him in this matter. Don't worry. That's it? Lin Wenbin's tone softened significantly. Wengzio. How are you and Xiaomin? Brother. Lin Wengzio said with a black line, you were not like this before. It seems that with Chu Xia, neither of us are your brothers anymore, right? Lin Wenbin glared at him. Speak nicely. It's still like that, Lin Wengzio said with a bitter face. Huang Xinliang goes to see Xiaomin every day. When Xiao Hua saw me, he still had a nose or an eye, and I'm not sure. Should I stick to it? Are you admitting defeat now? Lin Wenbin stabbed him angrily. Are we, the men of the Lin family, so easy to admit defeat? I'm not giving up, it's just... Lin Wengzio sighed. I just don't want too much emotional involvement in the relationship. If Xiaomin changes her heart because of Huang Xinliang's interference, then it means that she has feelings for me. Not real feelings. From the perspective of interests, the Xiao family and our family are not a perfect match, so I don't think I have anything to insist on. Let her choose. If she continues to sway like this, then it will be in vain for her to choose me. After careful consideration, Lin's Hixia was right. Lin Wenbin reached out and patted him comfortingly. No matter what you do, eldest brother will support you. However, eldest brother is not a good role model. I'm afraid I can't help the third uncle and the third aunt. It's up to you. Brother, you are quite self-aware. Lin Wengzio laughed. If eldest brother goes to speak good words for me, my parents will have to force me to be with Xiao Min. Can't you say it more tactfully? Lin Wenbin glared at him, stood up and left. You guys can talk, I'm tired and I need to go back to my room to rest for a while. Lin Wenjie grabbed him and protested, brother, my engagement is tomorrow, why don't you care about me at all? Am I your biological brother? The good relationship between you two is as sweet as honey, so what should I care about? Lin Wenbin rolled his eyes at him. Our elders and Fang's elders have met each other a long time ago, and they unanimously agree with your marriage. If I care blindly, it would be called hypocrisy. Wengziu, look, this is my brother. Lin Wenjie shook his head and let go of Lin Wenbin's hand. Compared with me, don't you think you are very happy? At least the second brother's feelings for your marriage are, but you care a lot, right? That's right. Lin Wengziu nodded repeatedly. Although my brother is a little emotionally unstable, he still cares about my younger brother very much. He will never lose his judgment on everything just because of his feelings. Hey, you two brats, what are you talking about? Lin Wenbin had no choice but to sit back and look at the two singing together. Just say what you want to say, don't beat around the bush. I hate men who hesitate to say something half-heartedly. Half of it? The two looked at each other, and Lin Wenjie looked at Lin Wenbin with a serious look on his face. Brother, you don't really want to be with that Wei Mian again, do you? Who are you listening to? Lin Wenbin frowned. Yes, I saw her once recently, but we separated after just a few words. From the day she got married, it was destined that she and I would never be together again. You are my biological brothers, so don't talk about such frivolous things, okay? Besides, am I so useless in your hearts that you can't let go? This is the last time. If you ask me such impossible things again, be careful and I will kill you. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan Nuan. Chapter 752. Please remember the website address of this site. Please recommend promotional introductions to your QQ group Weibo/WeChat forum post. Nuan has returned to his hometown these days, and the chapters were uploaded in advance. Yesterday, I asked the editor to help upload them, and I just came back today, left a message. Nuan is very sorry. Thank you all for your continued support and encouragement. We will work hard to satisfy everyone. Brother, it's not that we don't believe you, it's... After a slight hesitation, Lin Wenjie told the truth, it's Wei Miking and us. Her sister is going to be with eldest brother again. Of course we don't believe it, but she has a nose and eyes. Moreover, Wei Mian is really getting divorced, and many people already know about it, and it is estimated that our elders will also get the news soon. Lin Wengzia quickly echoed, yes, brother, originally we wanted to tell our family, but then we thought, if this kind of rumor is not confirmed, we should wait until brother comes back. If this matter is groundless, then tell the elders in the family quickly and not let the rumors continue to spread. If the eldest brother really thinks so, he must think of a strategy. Wei Mian's decision not only hurt her eldest brother, but also her great-grandmother, grandparents, and uncles and aunts. If the eldest brother wanted to be with Wei Mian, they would definitely not be able to accept it. Although these two younger brothers are a little older, they are still very stable in temperament. Since they are like this now, it means that rumors are really flying all over the sky, otherwise, they will not do this rashly. He only met Wei Mian once and spread the news, so, the answer seems to have been obtained without asking for confirmation. She looked at him so pitifully and confessed to him, he believed her and blamed himself for it, but it turned out that it was him who was too sentimental again. Only. Why does she believe that he will be with her again? Or, does she want to use the pressure of public opinion to force him not to be with her? Then, his entanglement over the years is really meaningless. I know. Lin Wenbin hugged his two younger brothers and patted them hard. Don't worry, I will solve this matter as soon as possible so that my family won't worry. Brother. Lin Wenjia looked at him worriedly, what do you want to do? Do you want us to help? Or, should Wang Xiu and I come forward? No, I can handle my own affairs by myself. Lin Wenbin raised a smile, as the eldest brother, I can't help you much, and I won't be a burden to you. He said to Lin Wangxiu, Wangxiu, when your brother comes back, ask him to come to me. I have something to say to him. Good. Lin Wangxiu nodded, I will ask him to find his elder brother as soon as he comes back. Okay, see you later. After saying goodbye, Lin Wenbin quietly went upstairs alone. Lin Wangxiu asked Lin Wenjia a little worriedly, how about you tell me? No need, my brother can solve it, he will definitely solve it. Lin Wenjia raised his eyebrows, I still have confidence in my brother. Okay, I listen to you. Despite this, Lin Wangxiu's eyebrows were still filled with worry. Lin Wenjia looked at him for a few times and shook his head in a funny way, did your brother scare you? Ah, Lin Wangxiu was stunned for a moment, then smiled sheepishly, I have discovered that this passionate man can only get under the horns of an ox. Even 10 oxen can't be pulled back. My brother is an example. What if the eldest brother? Here, he paused and spread his hands. You think too much. Lin Wenjia raised his eyebrows easily, my brother has no feelings for Wei Mian for a long time. Some of them are just guilty. But this time Wei Mian plotted against my brother like this, that's not it. The guilt has completely disappeared. Do you think he will still choose Wei Mian? Or, if he could choose Wei Mian, he would have chosen her long ago, so there is no need to delay today. In fact, this is also the source of my brother's guilt. At first, he couldn't make up his mind to marry Wei Mian because he was unsure about the relationship. But with his character, since he had been dating Wei Mian for so many years, he would definitely marry her. We'll marry each other. It's a pity that Wei Mian didn't understand this, so when she met a man she thought was suitable, she quickly chose to get married. My brother couldn't handle his feelings at the time, so the sudden change and the external comments, which made him unable to accept it and made him depressed for a while. Later, he never looked for her, not because he didn't let go of Wei Mian, but because Wei Mian's marriage was not a betrayal, but a last resort. My brother has actually been escaping. He is afraid that he will not have the courage to get married in his next relationship, and then he may fail another girl. However, everyone interprets his evasion as his inability to let go of his previous relationship. In fact, including himself, he also thinks so, so over time, this seems to have become a taboo topic for everyone. Even if we have already met the right person, no one dares to urge him openly. And this kind of avoidance gradually turned that assumption into a fact, and this so-called fact is actually an illusion. Therefore, I think what Wei Mian did this time is not a bad thing. Or, after what happened this time, the eldest brother can really let go of that wrong fact and quickly meet and accept the fate that truly belongs to him. Third brother. After staring at Lin Wenjia for a long time, Lin Wangxiu couldn't help but gasped, we grew up together, and I just discovered today that third brother, you are not simple, you can actually understand the feelings of the eldest brother so clearly. Tisk tisk, I was really blind before. Oh, you even called third brother. Lin Wenjie raised his eyebrows proudly. If you call me like this from now on, third brother will definitely give you a clear path when you encounter problems. TCH, Lin Wenjie glared at him, you are so fat that you are really out of breath. By the way, tell me, did you really analyze this yourself? What happened to you if you weren't big brother? If eldest brother can live with me, why do we need to worry about him? Lin Wenjie spread his hands in confusion. There is no other way. Who can make us smart? Fu Ling was heartbroken. Lin Wenjie patted her forehead. Fang Jingzi helped you analyze it, right? The two of us analyzed it together. However, she didn't let me tell my eldest brother. I still have to rely on my eldest brother to really figure out the relationship matters. Third sister-in-law is worried that eldest brother will know that it was her analysis, right? Lin Wenjie smiled maliciously. Third brother, why am I suddenly worried about you? Third sister-in-law is older than you, smarter than you, and thinks more than you. From now on, all major issues in your family will have to be decided by third sister-in-law. Then your position in the family. Go, go, go. Lin Wenjie interrupted him. Our family's affairs are of course ours, the two of us discussed it. We agreed a long time ago that we will practice democracy in the future, not dictatorship. Lin Wenjie shrugged his shoulders, with a look of gloating on his face. Third brother, I hope that after you and third sister-in-law have been married for 3 years, you will still be as confident as you are today. Of course. Third brother, why are you so unsure of what you say? Lin Wenjie was so angry that he pushed him. Go away, I'll ignore you. I'll talk to Commander Zhou. But I'm hiding. Lin Wenjie, when will you get rid of this problem? With this in his mouth, Lin Wenjie quickly chased after him. Although the leader was his brother-in-law, to them, he was as respectable as their elders. It's very rewarding to have the opportunity to chat together for a day or something. After lunch, everyone went back to the room to rest. During this period of early summer, I felt very tired easily. After I returned to my room, I lay there and stared in a daze. When I woke up, it was already around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The leader of the group, Zhuangzi, was sitting on the bedside with a book. When he saw his wife waking up, he quickly helped her. She put a pillow behind her. Wake up and I'll get you some juice. Chu Xia grabbed him and said, I'll go by myself. Lie down. Zhou Mikang forced her back onto the bed. If anyone dares to do anything to you, you'll never come here again. Isn't that so domineering? The troubled Chu Xia looked helpless, but there was also a faint joy in her heart. No matter right or wrong, there is always someone who will pamper her unconditionally. This is what every woman looks forward to, right? The Fang family was also in a hurry at this time. Although it was just an engagement, Fang Jingzi's father Fang Dajin and mother Zhao Qiaomiao paid as much attention to their marriage as they did to their marriage. Their daughter has found a boyfriend who is 6 years older than her, and the family conditions are so good. For ordinary working-class families, they really dare not think about the future. What they are particularly worried about is, if this continues for a few more years, what will happen to their daughter if they are divided? Therefore, when the Lin family came to ask for an engagement, you can imagine how happy they were. As a result, the old lady may have been too happy and fell ill the next day. At the end of the year, the old lady insisted not to go to the hospital and took some medicine. The family was lucky, but unexpectedly, the condition worsened and they had no choice but to be sent to the hospital. Only after this examination did we know that they had delayed the optimal treatment time. When the hospital issued a critical notice, the family regretted committing suicide. Fortunately, the old lady got through it again and actually got better a little bit. The first thing the old lady did when she woke up was to ask about her granddaughter's engagement. In order to make the old lady happy, Fang Dajin and his wife discussed with their daughter that the engagement should be held as scheduled. Although it was inappropriate for the woman to take the initiative to propose this, there would be less taboos, which might lead to less regrets in the future. The Zhou family happily agreed, and their attitude did not change because of this. Fang Dajin and his wife were finally relieved and no longer worried about their daughter's future happiness. Although the Lin family is a wealthy family, and although they are not well matched, they believe in what they are doing, and they also believe that if their daughter is married, she will never be wronged as a nanny. Hope and hope, finally looking forward to this day, the old lady who has not yet recovered has to be discharged from the hospital and go home. She is waiting for her granddaughter to get married before going to the hospital. Fang Dajin has no choice but to discuss with the doctor whether he can be accommodating. Fortunately, the doctor granted the old lady's leave, which fulfilled her wish. Domain name of this book, please tell each other to promote it. Thank you. Use the Ctrl+D shortcut key to bookmark it. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. First Marriage Then Love, Mr. Mayor Please Be Kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 753. Please remember the website address, please contact your QQ group. Fang Jing's second uncle, second aunt, and aunt were all waiting at Fang's house. They tried on clothes over and over again and ordered gifts again and again. The old lady was still worried, for fear of missing something and losing etiquette. Looking at the old lady who was obviously very tired but still holding on to take charge of the overall situation, Fang Jingze looked helpless. Grandma, the elders of Wenji's family are very easy to talk to. You can go back to your room and rest without worries, okay? Grandma knows that the Lin family is kind, but we can't be less polite just because they are unreasonable. Old Mrs. Fang smiled weakly. Grandma is not tired at all. When she got home, Grandma felt happy. These days lying in the hospital bed every day, Grandma was almost suffocating. This time when she got home, she could breathe smoothly. Alas, there is nothing better than home. You're not tired yet, I can see from your face that you are exhausted. Fang Jingze said with a serious face, if you continue to be so disobedient, I will not get engaged tomorrow. Grandma, you know my temper. Okay, I'll go back to the room and rest for a while. Old Mrs. Fang waved to her youngest daughter Fang Saiken, who was standing by happily. Saiken, come here and help mother over. Then she said to the others, check again, see if any are left behind. Mom, we will take good care of it. Mom, don't worry. Mom, we promise nothing will go wrong. Grandma, do you underestimate us? That's right. Grandma doesn't trust people very much. The children and grandchildren of the Fang family sent the old lady back to the room with promises and protests, but when they returned, they began to check the various belongings of the engagement in a panic. Fang Jingze actually protested. Unfortunately, her parents, uncle, and an aunt all protested. Fortunately, her younger siblings and cousins listened to her and stopped following various inspections. Looking at Fang Jingze standing there with a helpless expression, her sister Fang Jing'ai smiled and pulled her into their bedroom. Sister, it's not like I don't know how long they have been looking forward to this day. Let them live it a few more times, otherwise, they won't feel at ease and won't even be able to sleep well at night. Hey, Fang Jingze sighed and looked at her sister apologetically. Xiaoi, it's my sister who delayed you, otherwise you and Qin Tao should have gotten married long ago. What are you talking about? Fang Jing'ai pushed her sister. I don't want to get married so early. I should thank my sister. If my sister hadn't stopped me, how could I have been free for so long? Qin Zongtao should hate me to death. Fang Jingze laughed, because her sister always refused by saying that she would not get married unless her sister got married. It would be strange if her prospective brother-in-law didn't hate her. He dares, Fang Jing'ai waved her fist. His expression became serious. Sister, I am very happy for you, and I admire you very much. If it were me, I might not have the courage, but I believe that I will be happier than anyone else in my life. Say this to me again when I get married. Fang Jingzi chuckled. Xiaoi, you don't want to ask me for anything, you say it so nicely. I don't feel comfortable with it. I have something to ask my sister. Fang Jing'ai looked at her sister seriously. Sister, get married quickly and let me sleep in a room by myself. After more than 20 years of being squeezed with you, I finally got through it. Fang Jingzi. Haha. Fang Jing'ai smiled proudly. Aren't you quite disappointed? You. Fang Jingzi sighed softly, stretched out her hand to caress her sister's cheek, and then smiled narrowly. You are my sister, you should be nice to me, I won't be moved. Fang Jing'ai. Well, she has never taken advantage of her sister since she was a child. After a while, she said with a bitter face, Sister, you are too unkind. You know I don't want you to be too moved. I just said that, but I don't appreciate it at all. I am your biological sister. Using that method is disrespectful to me, do you understand? Fang Jingzi glared at her. Even if I get married in the future and you get married, you can't mince words and be nice to the other person. If it's good, if it's not good, it's bad. If you care, you care. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Can you still call someone a relative if you hide it? Okay, I was wrong, why not? Fang Jing'ai quickly begged for mercy. I promise that I will never do this again in the future. I will let her know immediately if I am good to her, for sure. Fang Jingzi. Well, she finally understood what taking things out of context means. Sister, take a rest for a while, I'll go out and take a look. Fang Jing'ai stopped talking to her sister, waved her hands, and exited the room. When she saw Fang Jingzi trying to stand up, she immediately glared at her. You have to be beautiful tomorrow. When you meet someone, don't worry about it. Okay, you guys can get busy, I'd love to take some time off. Fang Jingzi simply took off her shoes and lay on the bed. Don't catch me for my mistakes then, because you think I'm lazy. That's impossible to say. Fang Jing'ai joked and backed out. After staring at the door for a long time, Fang Jingzi stood up and stood at the window, staring at the familiar things downstairs. Inexplicably, she felt a little reluctant in her heart. Although she knew that she could go home as usual after getting married, she couldn't help but feel sad in her heart. Others said that extroverted children do not care about love and family, but she was just the opposite. The thing she disliked most since she was a child was leaving home, leaving parents. Before meeting Lin Wenjie, she had been in love, and the reason for the breakup was due to her request that both parents should support her after they got married. She thought this request was not excessive, but no one accepted it except Lin Wenjie. When they met, he was a student and she was a teacher. She liked this handsome and studious boy very much. Of course, it was the teacher who liked the student. But one day, he walked up to her and told her that he liked her. She burst into laughter. She was 22 years old at the time and he was 16. In her eyes, he was just a child. Of course, she regarded his words as a child's impulse. She did not scold him, but just shook her head with a smile and walked away. I'll take good care of you, trust me, he shouted from behind. Of course she took his words as the crazy words of a child. The next day, he bought her breakfast and lunch. If she didn't eat it, he would throw it away. She felt sorry for the food, so she had to comply with his wishes. She thought that he would not persist for more than a month, but as a result, he was still persisting a year later. In addition to helping her buy food, he would also wait for her to take her home on her way home from school. Seeing that he took her seriously, she had a serious talk with him. saying that she was being honest and that he was a student and was inappropriate. Tell him to stop doing stupid things. He didn't say anything and just went his own way. She didn't know when she got used to him being by her side. Once he was sick and didn't go to school, and she was restless for the whole day. From that day on, she knew her feelings and decided to face them bravely. The first to object were family members. Because the gap between the two families is too big, the gap between the two people is also too big. She was the kind of person who would never change something once she was sure of it. Therefore, even though she loved her family and her parents so much, she did not follow their parents' advice and break up with him. The moment she agreed to be with him, the joy in his brows immediately overflowed. Instead of cheering as she expected, he held her hand and told her seriously that no matter when the time came, he would love her. Your concern will not change. She agreed, but she didn't believe it in her heart. But it turned out that she was wrong again. In the past 2 years, he has been treating her the same way. She thought that his family would be the biggest obstacle, but she didn't expect that there was no obstacle from them. They said they believed in his vision. It was also because of this sentence that she strengthened her determination to be with him. Even if others gossiped, she would not care, because his elders and her elders had something in common. This is fate. She had been looking forward to this day, but when it came, she felt so panicked that she didn't even know what she was panicking about. Crunch. The door opened and Fang Jingzi turned around. It was her Aunt Fang Sanking. Auntie. Fang Jingzi called politely and came over. Xiao Zi. Fang Sanking smiled and sat beside the bed. Xin Lan is here. From what she said, it seems that she wants to go with Jingwen tomorrow. Let me come and tell you that you have something in your heart. Count. Jingwen is Fang Jingzi's younger brother. Fang Jingzi frowned. Her younger brother was good at everything, but he didn't know people very well. Li Xinlan was a neighbor's daughter. She didn't want to take a second look at her younger brother before, but since she found out that she was dating someone from the Lin family in Beijing, she started to pay more attention to her. My brother, that's called enthusiasm. Her parents, her and her younger sister all advised her younger brother not to associate with Li Xinlan anymore, but his younger brother just couldn't listen and wanted to marry her back home. Therefore, until now, the relationship between Li Xinlan and her younger brother Fang Jingwen cannot be said to be what it is. You could say they are lovers. The parents of the two families often meet, but they have never discussed the future of the two juniors. You said they were not lovers, so she took Fang Jingwen to watch movies and go shopping together when she had nothing to do. Hey, he sent it here by himself now. To put it bluntly, for Li Xinlan, Fang Jingwen was basically a springboard, and she, Fang Jingzi, was the target that Li Xinlan approached and used. Do you really think she is a fool? After thinking about it, Fang Jingzi looked at Fang Sanking. Auntie, if Jingwen wants to take her there, I will let Jingwen stay at home directly. I won't stop her from marrying into a good family, but she wants to take advantage of my brother. I will never agree. Okay, Fang Sanking nodded reassuringly. I'm relieved when you say that. I'm just worried that you might be deceived by her because of the special day tomorrow. This woman is just like her mother, a young lady and a maid. Fang Sanking and Li Xinlan's mother, Yao Ifeng, were classmates and they were tricked by each other. Therefore, she was not just unkind to Yao Ifeng, but also to Li Xinlan. This was because no one else came to report the news, but she the most fundamental reason why Baba came to report the news. To be continued. Domain name of this book, please tell each other to promote it. Thank you. Use the Ctrl+D shortcut key to bookmark it. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 754. Please remember the website address of this website. Please recommend promotion introduction to your QQ group Weibo/WeChat forum post bar. Chapter 727. Auntie, you also grew up with me. When have I ever been fooled by others because of my soft-heartedness? Fang Jingzi smiled at Fang Sanking and continued to reassure him, Auntie, think about it carefully, am I wrong, are you only honest with your own family? After thinking about it carefully, Fang Sanking smiled sheepishly, Auntie is redundant, but Zi, after entering the Lin family, your status is different. Even if you can't help your own family, you can't force it. Remember, in 1 second popular novels are updated the fastest. Auntie, don't worry, our family doesn't have those who are out of tune. The problem you are worried about will probably not happen. Fang Sanking interrupted her, Jingwen is a bit out of tune right now. Thinking about her brother's performance during this period, Fang Jingzi looked helpless. Yes, how could she forget about her brother? This bad woman is really tireless in destroying people. Growing up, my younger brother has been very obedient and sensible, and has not made his parents worry too much. In addition, my younger brother is smart and good-looking, so he is the pride of the family. Unfortunately, since Li Xinlin relented, his younger brother has completely changed. He has never skipped classes since he was a child, and he has never been absent from work. Now, in order to see Li Xinlin, he is repeatedly visited by the factory director at home. Every time, the younger brother would pat his chest and promise not to make any more mistakes, but within a few days, the boss came over again. If her relationship with the Lin family hadn't been known to the factory director, the younger brother would have been fired. For this reason, she and her parents also approached Li Xinlin, who had a very good attitude and promised repeatedly that he would persuade Fang Jingwen and prevent him from being named and criticized again. The result, of course, there is no result. To put it bluntly, Li Xinlin is using this method to control Fang Jingwen, and also using this method to make the Fang family have to pay attention to her. If the Fang family really falls out with her, they will definitely lose Fang Jingwen. This, I am afraid, is the fault of the Fang family. Unacceptable. It is precisely because he knows this clearly that Li Xinlin is always so confident. However, if this continues, the situation will probably get worse. There are not only infatuated women in this world, but also infatuated men, such as Fang Jingwen. Judging from his performance, he probably didn't know Li Xinlin's true nature in a short period of time, or even if he did, he was unwilling to admit that it would be fatal if the so-called obedient and sensible child really got into trouble. In fact, Fang Jingzi already understood this truth. However, considering her brother's dependence and closeness to her since childhood, she could not bear to refuse his request. Now, her love has harmed him. It makes it more and more difficult for him to extricate himself from this relationship that he shouldn't have. If he continues like this, he will only be hurt more seriously. Thinking like this, Fang Jingzi once again assured Fang Sanking, Auntie, I will not let Jingwen's temper go. Don't worry, for the sake of this family. For his future, I must be ruthless, even if you hate me now, I must be cruel. Hey, Fang Sanking sighed, one day he will understand your feelings. He is no longer 22. If a woman like this is unclear, who among the good girls would want to marry him? Yes, Fang Jingzi nodded, I should have cut off his thoughts long ago. She stood up and walked out, opened the door, and looked coldly at her younger brother who was sitting with Li Xinlin talking. Fang Jingwen, you don't want to go tomorrow? Sister. Fang Jingwen looked at Fang Jingzi in disbelief, I am your biological brother. If I don't go tomorrow, what will the Lin family think? They won't think too much about it, as long as grandma and parents are gone. Fang Jingzi said lightly to him, from now on, you don't want to get involved in anything of mine. She said to Xiang Fang's father and Fang's mother, Dad, Mom, I will make it clear to the factory that if Fang Jingwen is absent from work again, she should be fired, and if they continue to tolerate her, I will never appreciate it. She doesn't appreciate it, and the Lin family doesn't appreciate it, so the factory leaders will never be unsung heroes. Fang Jingwen's fate can be imagined. Of course, Li Xinlin knows that Fang Jingzi is here for her, but she doesn't believing that Fang Jingzi would really do this. She pulled Fang Jingwen comfortingly, "Sister, you're right, you have to take your work seriously, and don't make eldest sister unable to hold her head high in front of her husband's family." "Sister." The veins on Fang Jingwen's forehead protruded. The eldest sister had always loved him so much since he was a child. He really couldn't accept the eldest sister's sudden change of heart. "If you continue to be with this woman, don't call me eldest sister. I don't have a younger brother like you, and I don't want my husband's family to look down on me because of you." Fang Jing finished speaking, turned around and went back to the room. Clang, the door closed with a sound. After a brief misunderstanding, Fang's father and Fang's mother understood the reason why their eldest daughter did this, so they continued to work on the matter at hand without even looking at their son. Uncle Fang and Aunt Fang looked at each other, and looked at Aunt Fang, who came out with Fang Jingzi with some doubts. She winked at them and said goodbye to Fang's father and mother. "Brother and sister-in-law, we are almost done with our work. I will go home first, come here early tomorrow morning." "Okay." Father Fang responded happily and smiled apologetically at the eldest sister. "I'm tired after working all day. You should go and rest." "Brother and sister-in-law, let's go back too," Uncle Fang said tightly. "Well, you all go back." Aunt Fang and Uncle Fang and Aunt Fang left, and of course Fang Jingzi's cousins also followed suit. By the time Aunt Fang came out of Grandma Fang's room, everyone had already left. "Where have they all gone?" Fang Gu asked in confusion. Father Fang said, "Saiken, you should go back and rest. Come back early tomorrow morning." Not knowing what happened before, Fang Saiken did not follow Fang's father's wishes. "I'd better help you with the checkup." Mother kept mumbling before she fell asleep, for fear of losing etiquette. "This is our method, it's a big family matter, and it's right for my mother to be so worried. Although we are just friends, we have to take our faith seriously." Fang Jing'ai sighed secretly, glanced at Fang Jingwen, who was sitting silently with her head hanging down, and then glanced at Li Xinlin, who was pretending to be obedient, walked to Fang Gu, and recounted everything that had just happened. Fang Gu frowned and stared at Li Xinlin, and snorted coldly, "It's so shameless. Okay, I'll go back too. You guys should talk to her. It's best to cut off her thoughts." After seeing Fang Gu off, Fang Jing'ai said to Li Xinlin, who was sitting there holding Fang Jingwen's hand, "You should know better than anyone why my eldest sister did that. Of course, you can insist that you only want to be with Jingwen because you like him." After a pause, Fang Jing'ai turned her eyes to her brother. "Fang Jingwen, no matter what we do, you insist that she really loves you, right?" "Yes." Fang Jingwen looked up at her sister with a firm expression. "Xinlin likes me, but you made things complicated. Before." He bit his lip, his eyes slightly red. "I always thought that before the eldest sister really loves me. Now, it's my fault. I never thought about how much benefit I would get from my eldest sister because she married into a good family. However, my eldest sister was always afraid that I would get benefits from her. So, now I express my position in front of the whole family. I, Fang Jingwen, have to rely on myself. The development of her abilities will never take away from her, Fang Jingzi. If she wants to go with the factory leader, I won't go tomorrow if I am not allowed. From now on, we will not interact with each other. Since she doesn't want me, then before she gets married, I will move to the factory dormitory to have a drink." "Jingwen, what are you blind about?" Li Xinlin grabbed Fang Jingwen's arm, with a worried look on her face. "The eldest sister is also angry, how can you be stubborn too? If the eldest sister is engaged, you, my biological brother, will not go, let the relatives how. Since it's me the eldest sister doesn't want, then I won't go tomorrow. I believe that over time, the eldest sister will accept me." She is your biological sister, so don't be filial, okay? You always think about her, but what about her? Fang Jingwen sniffed. She always thinks so bad of you. I won't let you go. She loves being treated as much as she wants. It's what she asked for anyway. Fang Jingzi opened the door and came out. Yes, I asked for it myself, Fang Jingwen, as long as you and this woman are together for one day, and we cut off contact with each other for one day, when you break up, it will not be too late to call me eldest sister. If you want to move to the factory, I will never stop you, let alone ask you to move out because of you. Li Xinlan, don't think I'm joking. If you are with him, I will not let you move out. He mixed a little bit into my business. Sister. Li Xinlan's charming big eyes were filled with mist. Why do you hate me so much? Do you really not miss the friendship between our neighbors for so many years? Besides, since I was a kid, I never did anything to feel sorry for my eldest sister or Jingwen. I didn't like him before because I hadn't figured out my feelings yet. Now, I know clearly that I like Jingwen. He has always been the best boy to me. I feel particularly safe with him. Since you are really in love with each other and are happy with each other, why do you care about my attitude? Fang Jingzi looked at her indifferently. You don't want anything for my own good, I don't need it. Fang Jingzi, you're like this, so there's no need for me to show up at your engagement party tomorrow. I'm going to pack my luggage now. If you can't get married in 1 month, please move out. After a pause, Fang Jingwen said to her parents, if you insist not to let me move back, then Fang Jingzi will be responsible for my future pension. You must have never given birth to my son. Domain name of this book, please tell each other to promote it. Thank you. Use the Ctrl+D shortcut key to bookmark it. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 755. A 4,000-word chapter has been delivered, and there is still one chapter left. Nuan will go and edit it, and it will be uploaded later. When the car drove into Dalan village, the last ray of light of the sun also disappeared into the horizon, curls of smoke rose, and the whole village was shrouded in a faint layer of smoke. Chu Xia, whose mood had not fluctuated much, felt a soft warmth in her heart inexplicably when she saw this familiar scene. She quietly took a deep breath and looked at the others. Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe's faces were already flushed with excitement. As for Luo Xiaoxian clearly looked impatient. Hey, are you excited because you can see Uncle Gangshun and Aunt Fatty, or because you can scare them? Shuxia asked, questioning the real reason for Xiaoxian Tong's excitement. Both, he. Luo Xiaoxian smiled and caressed her chest. When my parents saw me, they probably thought I was dreaming. I will float in later to scare them. Chu Xia curled her lips. Do you believe that fat ant can slap you on the butt? After thinking for a while, Luo Xiaoxian lowered her head. How could I forget my mother's temperament? Why should I remind you? Chu Xia stroked her forehead in annoyance. I'm so arrogant. It's too late, Luo Xiaoxian raised her eyebrows proudly. It's too late to say anything now. The car stopped in front of Luo's house. Luo Xiaoxian quickly opened the door and ran into the yard. Zhao Yulan, Lin Baohe, and Chu Xia took some gifts from the car before going in. As a result, several people walked to the door of the house. Then I heard Luo Xiaoxian's ouch cry of pain coming from the house. Meiying, Mom is sleepy and confused. I thought she was dreaming, so I just tried twisting it. Mom didn't mean it. It doesn't hurt anymore, right? Came the slightly apologetic voice of the fat ant. Mom, why don't you pinch yourself in your dream? Luo Xiaoxian's voice was filled with sadness. Magnolia. Baohe. Early summer, seeing the people filing in, the fat ant rubbed her eyes. Are you guys back together? I'm not dreaming, right? Chu Xia, who was afraid that Chi Yu would be harmed, quickly took a step back. Fat ant, you didn't dream. It's us who are back. The way Chu Xia hid away made the fat ant feel embarrassed, so she explained, Dong Quan's family wants to marry a daughter-in-law. I went to help make a few quilts. When I came back, I was so sleepy that I couldn't open my eyes. I was thinking about lying down for a while before getting up to cook. I was in a daze when I saw Mei Ying's big face reaching over. I thought I was thinking about her and dreaming about her. Just pinch it to see if it's true or not, he. Whoever has a big face is the one who doesn't have a big face, Luo Xiaoxian protested, under the influence of Chu Xia. She also feels that the round face favored by the elderly nowadays is not good looking, and she hates it most when people say she has a big face. Blessed are you with a big face, the fat ant glared at her and quickly put on a smile when she looked at Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe, you are back. If you don't come back, I will go to find you. Come and sit on the kong, it's warm. Still waiting. Where's Gang Shun? Lin Baohe asked. I went to Quan Dong's house for a drink. Xiao Xuan of Quan Dong's family is getting married the day after tomorrow, and they are setting up a banquet these days. The fat ant said as she got off the kong, he is not at home, let's eat together, I will cook, you guys hurry up and rest on the kong rest. Zhao Yulan stopped her, Cha Xiang, you slept warmly. Don't come down and catch a cold. We just came over to say hello, and we also had to go and see how the house was being cleaned. You came back so suddenly, I guess she was still there, haven't moved yet. We haven't moved yet. The fat ant frowned, didn't you say you would wait a few days before returning? Why are you back so soon? Did something happen to you? Captain Xiao Zhou is on a business trip that will last a year and a half. We are thinking of coming back early to clean up our things and go over to accompany Xia. With such a daughter, we are not at ease leaving her alone. Zhao Yulan looked at the fat ant. Cha Xiang, listening to your tone, is there something wrong with our house? After hesitating for a moment, the fat ant said, you can go over and collect the house tomorrow. You will stay here tonight. I will tell you in detail during dinner. Lin Baohe frowned, the old couple don't want to move. The fat ant nodded, it's true, your Uncle Lin and Aunt Lin are related, so I said, you stay here for now, let me talk to you in detail, and we will go over together to talk to the old couple tomorrow. Xiaji sent us back and is still waiting in the car. These people can't live in your house. Let's go and have a look first and see what they say. Besides, Xiaji and the old couple who are buying a house now, my son is a friend, and with him here, it should be easy to solve. Lin Baohe said as he walked out. Zhao Yulan waved to the fat ant and hurriedly followed. Chu Xia held down Xiao Shaxiang who was about to get off the kong. Fat ant, no matter how the solution is solved over there, we have decided to have dinner at your house tonight, so don't go there. Xiaoxian, you can help Fatty at home. Auntie, please prepare something delicious for us. Thinking that she couldn't help much by following her, the fat ant nodded, okay, I'll roll the noodles for you. It'll still be warm after eating. When Chu Xia went out, the fat ant quickly pushed Luo Xiaoxian out, go to your father and ask him to come over and help. Luo Xiaoxian suddenly said, Mom, no wonder you agreed not to follow me so readily. Go quickly, don't be wordy. The fat ant rolled her eyes at her daughter, you are here today thanks to Chu Xia, so you have to repay the favor, do you understand? Luo Xiaoxian was speechless, when did I stop repaying my kindness? Where did all this go? Forget it, I won't talk to you for now, go find my dad. After 2 steps, he turned back and said, Mom, hurry up. If you're cooking, don't join in the fun. I know, why should I use your orders? The fat ant grabbed the broom at hand and threw it towards her daughter, go quickly. Mom, you should learn more from Aunt Yulan, she never hits Chu Xia. Luo Xiaoxian said as she ran out, with a happy smile on her face. It's been a long time since I've been touched by my mother's broomstick. I really miss it. Such a familiar feeling. Is it okay to be a bitch? It was dinner time, and when the car parked in front of the new tile-roofed house, only a few children came around to dance and make noise. They saw Chusea's family of 3 getting out of the car. Some children came over to say hello. After being away from home for so long, I saw a familiar child. Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe felt particularly close to each other, so they gave them candies. The children who got the candy ran away in a swarm, and the others who were watching from a distance ran over and said hello timidly. After the children left, Chusia looked at the couple with some schadenfreude. Hurry up and fill your pockets with candies. In a moment, all the children in the village will come to say hello to you. The couple looked at each other and smiled happily, then share it all with them. Originally, you had to share the wedding candies when you got married. The more wedding candies you share, the better the omen. Jingzhe, who was knocking on the door, heard what the couple said, and his originally solemn expression relaxed a little. He was annoyed that he had not done this well. Fortunately, he came back with him. If only the couple came back, what would he do? How annoying would it be to block the outside and prevent people from going home? Who is it? It's time to sleep. After a long time, an old reply finally came from inside. Jingzhe said quickly, I am a friend of Deputy County Magistrate Zhang. Please open the door for Grandpa Zhang and Grandma Zhang. After a while, the door creaked open, and an old face appeared, looking at Jingzhe. Looking at Lin Baohe and Zhao Yulan behind him, his eyes finally fell on Chusea's face, and he roughly understood, is he the original homeowner? Yes, Lin Baohe stepped forward quickly. My son-in-law bought the house some time ago. Deputy County Magistrate Zhang has told you that we are moving in, right? Yeah, old man Zhang responded. He turned around and entered the house minding his own business. Uncle Lin and Aunt Lin. Let's go in. Jingzhe stretched out his hand to signal Lin Baohe and Zhao Yulan to go ahead. Knowing that he wanted to let the old couple inside know who was the owner of the house, he deliberately respected them. Lin Baohe and Zhao Yulan smiled gratefully at him. Lin Baohe's family. Lin Chukyu had already reported to Mr. Lin and Mrs. Lin that Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe had entered the village. The old couple immediately became as excited as if they had been given blood. After planning for so long, they were finally about to reap the rewards. They felt that a straight bright road was extending in front of them. They found the shabby clothes that had been prepared and placed them on the kong. Mr. Lin picked up the big pipe and squinted his eyes. Started to smoke. Father, mother. After a moment of hesitation, Yang Aihua asked tentatively, can the old couple of the Zhang family look after us? In fact, her subtext was that the old couple alone could control the second brother and second sister-in-law. However, she didn't dare to ask so directly, so she took a roundabout way. Neither Mr. Lin nor Mrs. Lin are stupid people. When she said this, you knew what she was worried about. Mr. Lin clicked his pipe without making a sound, and Mrs. Lin comforted her, don't worry, we know what's going on. Father, mother. Gritting his teeth, Yang Aihua revealed everything he was worried about. If this thing doesn't work out, and the second brother and second sister-in-law still hate us, we won't be able to get any glory at all in the early spring and early autumn. Aihua, your father and I are both arrogant people. Who do you think we are doing this for? If we hadn't known the tempers of your second brother and sister-in-law, and also touched the tempers of the Zhang family, how could we have done this? Do it? If we don't let your second brother and second sister-in-law, who are owed a favor, go and talk about an agreement, they can also help us in the early spring and early autumn, but how we can help and whether they can achieve our wishes is another matter. If you just want to be a soldier and come back after 2 years of demobilization, we don't need their help. We only need their help in the early spring and early autumn. If you want to be a soldier, don't we want these 2 children to have food and drink all their lives without having to work hard? Then you have to make your second brother and second sister-in-law feel that they owe us from the bottom of their hearts. Even if they don't feel that way, they have to be embarrassed and have to help us. Anyway, the bigger this matter gets, the better, so don't just worry about it, there are me and your father. If our trick doesn't work, and it won't harm you and Bao Hai, just pretend you don't know. We'll tell others and say you don't know, so you can rest assured, right? When it came to this matter, Yang Ihua stopped trying to persuade her. In fact, she knew that she couldn't do anything to persuade her. It was worth it if she could get the old couple to promise not to drag her and her husband into the water. Let's eat. Seeing that her daughter-in-law was convinced by her words, Mrs. Lin ordered. The food was put on the table, but Lin Chuchun was found missing. At this time, Lin Chuchun was on the way to Lin Baohe's new home. As he was walking, he heard the sound of running from behind. Then he tightened his arms. What are you going to do? Lin Chuqiu asked angrily. Do you care? Lin Chuchun turned around and looked at him. I have long legs. I can go wherever I want, so please stop meddling. You want to go to the second uncle's house to report the news? Lin Chuqiu looked at him with a distorted face. Even if you don't care about being a worker, don't drag me down, okay? On such a cold day, why am I running out again and again? You think I have nothing to do and you want to worry about it? Chennai has already said that if I was not a worker, she would not marry me. You also know that I really care about her. If she marries another man, I can kill her. Do you believe it? If you don't want me to become a murderer, don't mess with me. Just because of Chennai, you don't want to have any conscience. Lin Chuchun sighed. Since you and Chennai broke up, you have become a different person. I really feel that that woman is not suitable for you. If she really cared about you, she wouldn't be able to make you like this. Believe it or not, even if you become a worker, she can still make other demands. Even if she doesn't mention it, after you get married, she will be able to compare others with you in the future and ask you to fight for her to take home what she wants. If you can't satisfy her, she will make trouble with you. If you think about it carefully, is it possible to live such a life? Let me put it this way, if there was no such thing as Chusia, would she agree to be with you? I don't care, I'm going to marry her. Lin Chuqiu stared at Lin Chuchun stubbornly. Whether you want me, my brother, to live well, or you want me to become a murderer, it's up to you. Lin Chuchun stared at his twin brother for a long time, then sighed. Let's go back to eat. Brother. After a long pause, Lin Chuqiu said, I know your feelings. I just want to ask you something. Do you feel sorry for your second uncle and second uncle's mother by doing this? I'm sorry for Chusia. A little bit. When grandparents plot against them again in the future, will you still help them? I have no idea. In the darkness, Lin Chuchun sighed faintly. We are only a few days away from Chuxia. From childhood to adulthood, we can clearly see how her grandparents treated her. In the past, when I saw my second uncle and second uncle's mother kissing her so much, she was still ignorant, and I particularly disliked her. However, after all, she is our cousin and our relative. No matter how much I don't like her, I can't plot against her. The voices of the two people became farther and farther away, and Luo Xiaoxian walked out from the corner. She stared thoughtfully at the place where the two people disappeared for a while, then turned and ran towards Chuxia's new house. Domain name of this book, please tell each other to promote it. Thank you. Use the Ctrl+D shortcut key to bookmark it. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 756. Second update arrived. Listening to her youngest daughter's accusations against her and her favoritism towards her husband, Lu Jinli was so angry that she was shaking all over. She grabbed the ashtray next to her and threw it at her youngest daughter. Li Xinlai, who had long been accustomed to this kind of violence, turned slightly and ducked the heavy ashtray. With the sound of glass breaking, cigarette ashes were scattered all over the floor. "Lily, how could you do this to your mother?" Li Xinlan glared at her sister and ordered, "Quickly find something to clean up, so as not to hurt anyone. It's not like you have no hands, why can't you sweep it yourself?" Li Xinlai snorted coldly, hugged the book and returned to the room. The moment she closed the door, tears flowed down unconsciously. Growing up, her mother treated her and her sister completely differently. At one time, she thought she was not her mother's biological child, but she asked a few people indirectly, and the answers she got were all, she and her sister were biological sisters. As she grew up, she gradually understood that her sister looked like her mother, and she looked like her father, so her mother would prefer her, while her father seemed to love her more. However, her father has a dull personality, is not very expressive, and cannot be the head of the family. Therefore, she has always been the one bullied since she was a child. In other families, little ones are favored, but in her family, it's just the opposite. She must do the dirty work. As for my sister, she just needs to be the hands-off shopkeeper. Everyone has a temper, and no matter how good her character is, there will be times when she can't stand it. Generally speaking, she will tolerate it at first, and if the times are too many, she will resist once, and then endure it again, resist again, and the cycle starts over again. What she looks forward to most is to be able to make money independently. Leave this home. Even though she looks like her father, she is still her mother's biological daughter. Why doesn't she have any place in her mother's heart? It really comes down to looks. Is she not worse than her sister? The reason why my mother was able to be with my father was because of his appearance and job. At that time, my father was the crush of many female workers in the factory. He was good-looking and a skilled worker. Many people envied my mother for being able to marry her father. Moreover, my father did not treat my mother badly just because she was the one who actively pursued him. From the moment they got married, the task of cooking fell on my father. My mother always said that she didn't know how to do housework or cook. But when she went to her grandma's house, she learned from her aunt that when she was at her parents' house, her mother cooked the food. What's more, it's extremely delicious. A woman. In order to let her husband do housework, she pretended to know nothing and never cooked a bite for the sisters for so many years. In her opinion, it was really selfish. Biologically, my sister not only looks like my mother. The character is similar too. She has never worn new clothes in her whole life. Even if her aunt doesn't like it and tries to make her new clothes, her sister will always find an excuse to go and return them when they are old. She is also a girl. I also love beauty, so how can I not feel aggrieved by being treated like this by my mother and sister? Initially, she protested and complained to her mother. I hope she can seek justice, but unfortunately, my mother's answer is always, "You are still young, why are you wearing such beautiful clothes? What's wrong with letting my sister wear it? How can you be so selfish at such a young age?" Who is selfish? She had quarreled and argued with her mother, but every time the quarrel ended with her admitting her fault, so after a long time, she accepted her fate. This was her position in this family. Her father felt sorry for her and would come to comfort her every time she was wronged, but what's the use? A father who has no status in the family, apart from giving her some verbal support, what else can he do? Just like this time, my father knew everything about the plan of his mother and sister, and he particularly disapproved of it, but he didn't even dare to say a word of objection. To be honest, sometimes she looks down on her father, but who makes him her biological father? Therefore, all she can do is work hard to become stronger, hoping that one day, she can make her father feel proud too. Sniffing, She picked up the book in her hand, but she was so confused that she couldn't read a word. After sitting in silence for a while, she picked up her coat and got up and walked out. Her mother and sister were still sitting in the hall doing various analyses, and her father was still reading the newspaper as usual. She sighed slightly, opened the door and walked out. The sky was already a little hazy, the wind was strong, and snowflakes were falling. Due to her bad mood, Li Xinlai couldn't feel the cold, so she walked forward with her head down. Her head suddenly hurt, and then she heard a muffled groan. When she raised her head to see clearly, she quickly stepped forward to help Fang Dajin, who was sitting on the ground. "Uncle Fang, I'm sorry, I didn't see you." "I don't blame you, I didn't look at the road either." Fang Dajin had a good impression of Li Xinlai, so his attitude was also very good. Moreover, he was indeed too absorbed in his thoughts just now, so he bumped into her, and he felt uncomfortable in his heart. "I feel ashamed and panic." Ring ring ring. The clear ringing of the car bell came, and the two people quickly got out of the way and turned to look over. Fang Dajin took the initiative to say, "Hello, Zhangji, are you still here to deliver the letter at this hour?" "Yes, Uncle Fang." Zhangji suddenly stopped and stretched his neck in the direction of Li Xinlai. Being stared at by others, Li Xinlai frowned and looked at Fang Dajin. "Uncle Fang, I'm going home." Wait. Zhangji quickly called her. "Sorry, I didn't mean to stare at you. The light was a bit dark and I couldn't see clearly. I came here specifically to deliver a message to you," he said while handing a letter to Li Xinlai. "I guess you've been looking forward to this for a whole day, right?" Li Xinlai took it in confusion, squinted her eyes, and her breathing suddenly became rapid. She opened the letter with trembling hands, took out the letter paper and opened it. After just a few glances, tears welled up. She was happy. "What is it?" Fang Dajiang stretched his head to look over curiously, saw the red print on the letter clearly, and his eyes widened immediately. "Lily, you were admitted to the medical university." Yeah. Li Xinlai kept nodding her head, unable to say anything else. "Why did it arrive just now?" Fang Dajiang looked at Zhang Ji in confusion. Lao Wang's children also took the exam in the second batch, but he received the notification letter years ago. Why did Lily receive it only now? This is really dangerous. Zhang Ji looked at Li Xinlai. "Look at the address on the envelope. No 201, Unit 8, number 26 Zishui Street." Looking at this line of writing, Li Xinlai looked in disbelief. "I can be sure that the address written in the address is number 201, Unit 5, Dongping Road." Zhang Ji shook his head. "I don't know about this. If I hadn't gone over to do something, they were processing returned letters. I glanced at them and happened to see your name, so your letter was returned." "Thank you." "Zhang Ji, thank you." Li Xinlai looked at Zhang Ji with a grateful face. "If it weren't for you, my college dream would be shattered again. When I save up the money, I will treat you to dinner. There is no need to eat. You study hard and bring glory to our district more than anything else. Moreover, if you become successful, I will also have glory in my face. Then I can tell others, if it weren't for me, how could Li Xinlai be where she is today?" While speaking, Zhang Ji had already turned the car around, waved to the two of them, and left. "Uncle Fang, I'm admitted to college, I'm really admitted to college." Li Xinlai still felt like she was dreaming, repeating this sentence over and over again. "Lily, you have a lot of potential." Fang Dajiang gave her a thumbs up and said with a smile, "Go home quickly and make your dad happy too." "Yes." Li Xinlai nodded vigorously and ran home. She hoped to exchange her achievements for her father's enthusiasm for life. She hoped that she could become her father's pride. Fang Dajin, who was originally in a bad mood, now has the urge to share his joy with his family. He doesn't like Li Xinlan, but he likes Li Xinlai because the child is sensible and filial, so when he sees her potential, he is also very interested. He was happy, and he believed that his wife and daughters would be particularly happy to hear about Li Xinlai's future. Because of Li Xinlai's unexpected surprise, the atmosphere at the Fang family's dinner was quite good. Even if Fang Jingwen didn't come out to eat, it didn't affect everyone's mood. It wasn't a wedding, and the Fang family didn't notify other relatives. Therefore, the only ones who came over early the next morning were the Fang family's immediate relatives, Uncle Fang's family and Aunt Fang's family. Fang Jingwen was never seen, so everyone understood the final outcome of yesterday's incident. However, it was a good ending. No one wanted to be uncomfortable on the big day, so everyone tacitly didn't mention it. When the car arrived at Lin's house, it happened to be an auspicious time. At 9:09, a large family came out to welcome them. Firecrackers went off. In a joyous atmosphere, the Fang family was welcomed in. Although they have been to the Lin family before, the newly renovated Lin family today still makes everyone in the Fang family feel a little restrained. After all, a family with such a background is too far away from their lives. Seeing everyone's nervousness, Mrs. Lin and Uncle Lin and Mrs. Lin deliberately talked about some light-hearted topics, and others followed suit. After half an hour, everyone's mood finally calmed down. Seeing that the time had come, Grandma Lin said, "In-laws, considering that they will get married soon, we didn't ask many people to come today. We just want our family to be lively. Do you mind?" "I don't mind, I don't mind." After saying this, Fang Dejiang realized that Mrs. Fang should answer, and quickly looked at the old lady who was still a little weak. "Mom, please express your attitude." "What Dejiang means is what I mean. We have all seen the sincerity of the Lin family. We are very relieved to hand over Jingzi to the Lin family." When she said this, Mrs. Fang was full of energy, and she didn't look like she was seriously ill yet to recover. Grandpa Lin and Grandma Lin looked at each other and breathed a sigh of relief. Originally, they planned to make the engagement ceremony more grand. It was Chu Xia who suggested that the engagement ceremony should not be too grand to give the Fang family a chance to adapt. In fact, everyone didn't agree with Chu Xia's proposal. However, considering the previous grudge with Chu Xia's family, they were afraid of estrangement, so they didn't have the nerve to deny it. In fact, they were a little uneasy in their hearts. Now that it's better, they can finally put their minds to it. Put it in the stomach. First marriage then love. Mr. Mayor, please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 757. Noticing that Fang Jingzi's younger brother Fang Jingwen was not among the visitors, Lin Wenjie pulled Fang Jingzi aside and asked in a low voice, "Where is Jingwen?" After a moment of hesitation, Fang Jingzi decided to tell him the truth. "I didn't let him come. You also know what happened between him and Li Xinlan. I don't want Li Xinlan to use him as a springboard." Lin Wenjie nodded and looked at her with some worry. "Just doing this will make Jingwen hate you to death. What will you do if he really gets together with Li Xinlan?" "No, Li Xinlan will never marry him. She hasn't fallen out yet because she doesn't believe that I really don't care about him. After a while, when she finds out that the Fang family really can't benefit from me, she will naturally stop being with him. Jingwen comes and goes. Of course, if my prediction is wrong and she really marries Jingwen." After a pause, Fang Jingzi sighed, "If she really marries Jingwen, how will we get along with each other? Let's talk about it then." Lin Wenjie thought for a while and didn't quite agree with her approach. "The hardest thing to do in this situation is probably our parents. Actually, I don't mind letting her take advantage of her. Think about it, the people around me are not fools either. I won't fall into her trap. The person around you is not a fool, and she is not a fool either. If she had seen your family's situation and knew that I would not let her family suffer, she would have married Jingwen. If she treats Jingwen sincerely and is a filial child, even if she is a little utilitarian, I will tolerate it. However, She is not even filial to her own father, let alone others. If we really marry such a woman and go home, we will definitely be in trouble. If Jingwen is in her hands, our bottom line will be lowered again and again. Fang Jingzi couldn't help but shudder. That result, definitely not what I want. Lin Wenjie really didn't expect this. After hearing what Fang Jingzi said, he felt that his idea just now was a bad idea, but he didn't want to do it because of his own relationship. The relationship between Fang Jingzi and her brother broke down, and her brows furrowed tightly. Okay, don't worry, just let nature take its course. If I do this, the final result will still be unsatisfactory. I can only say that it is God's will, and this is Jingwen's fate. But, after a pause, Fang Jingzi looked at Lin Wenjie seriously. If that day comes, I'm afraid we will have to support my parents. I hope you can make peace with your family. Lin Wenjie smiled and said, originally, that was what I planned. My family all know that I have already greeted them. My grandparents, my parents, my uncles, my aunts, and my aunts all have no objections. Don't worry. Lin Wenjie. Fang Jingzi bit her lip and didn't know what to say. After finding such a little husband, many people were waiting to see her joke. In fact, she was also vaguely worried. Now it seemed that she still didn't understand the other party well enough and underestimated the other party, which made her feel very guilty. Are you touched? Lin Wenjie smiled proudly. Now you know that although I am younger than you, I think no less than you, right? Fang Jingzi nodded vigorously, yes. Now I can tell everyone for sure that I, Fang Jingzi, did not choose the wrong person. It's good to know. Lin Wenjie pulled her towards the younger generation. You will get married soon, so you should spend more time with your family so that you won't feel strange when you get married. Third brother. As soon as he saw the third sister-in-law, he pulled us away to whisper. He and the third sister-in-law are about to get married. Is it necessary to be so difficult to separate? The person who made fun of Lin Wenjie was Lin Wengziu. He was always with Lin Wenjie and was naturally very familiar with Fang Jingzi. Knowing that the other person has a good personality, there is no pressure to joke around. Are you jealous? Lin Wenjie looked at him with disdain. What do you want me to say about you? How long have you not seen Xiaomin? Why don't you go find her quickly? If you don't take advantage of such a good opportunity, do you really have to wait for that bastard Huang Xinjie to get ahead of you before you regret it? Why does a man worry about not having a wife? Lin Wengziu rolled her eyes. I don't believe it. Without her, Xiaomin, I won't be able to find a wife. Moreover, if she was so easily seduced by Huang Xinjie, no. Marry or not, hey, Lin Wenjie, I'm telling the truth, even if you pinch me, I'll tell you the same thing. Yeah. Hearing this voice, Lin Wengziu froze immediately. After a while, his head turned stiffly like a robot. He looked at the girl staring at him with a smile. He wanted to cry without tears. It felt like being caught for saying bad things. It was so damn good. It's not good. Min, the fourth child is just an addict, don't take it seriously. Lin Wenjie explained while pointing at Chu Xia to change the subject. Min, this is my sister. You haven't seen her before. She looks good, right, like my sister-in-law, right? By the way, that is my brother-in-law, the leader of the group. He is absolutely young and promising. My eldest and second brothers are absolutely incompetent in front of him. She really couldn't bear to hear him use this method to resolve the embarrassment, so Chu Xia had to interrupt him. Third brother, your way of introduction means you won't want us to come in the future. Hello, my name is Xiao Min. Before Lin Wenjie could speak, Xiao Min stretched out his hand to Chu Xia. Hello, my name is Lin Chu Xia. Chu Xia stood up and stepped forward to hold her. Sister Xiaomin, please sit down and talk. Can I call you Chuxia? Xiaomin asked first. Certainly. In early summer, we met for the first time. Ordinarily, I shouldn't refuse your request. However, you heard what some people said just now. If you want me to stay, how can I stay in front of certain people in the future? Have a face. Sighing, Xiaomin continued, I heard before that the Lin family found their long-lost relatives, and I also heard that you and my sister-in-law look very similar. I have always been curious. If it weren't for that bastard and my temper, what would I have done last time? I came to play with you. I estimate that you will be finished by 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Look, do you think this is good? I will be waiting for you at the intersection on time at 4 o'clock. Can you come to my house to play? Hearing what she said, Chu Xia knew that she and Lin Wengxiu could not break up. If she really didn't like Lin Wengxiu, she would not invite herself to her home at all. To put it bluntly, it was the first time they met and they didn't recognize each other. Why do people invite her as a guest? Fourth brother, Chu Xia looked at Lin Wengxiu, who was still in a daze. Why don't you quickly apologize to Sister Xiaomin? Is it possible that you want to save your apology for making dumplings during the new year? Chu Xia's words were so funny that Fang Jing'ai couldn't help but burst out laughing. When everyone turned their attention to her, her face turned red and she lowered her head to reduce her sense of presence. Fang Jingzi and Xiaomin had known each other for a long time, and she stood up now. Xiaomi and my sister doesn't mean any harm. Don't take it to heart. Today is the day Wenjia and I get engaged. Treat us as a favor. Stay. Okay. Sister Jingzi, I'm sorry, I didn't mean not to say hello to you, I was so angry just now. Xiaomin quickly apologized. I came here because today is the day when you and Wenjia are engaged, but there are some if people don't let me stay, you say that You said just now that you came because you were curious about my sister, and now you say it again. You came because my third brother and sister-in-law are engaged. Xiaomin, you think I don't speak well, what about you? Lin Wengxiu looked at it intently. Xiaomin, I know you are accusing me of not looking for you during this period, but have you ever thought about why I didn't look for you? I've told you a long time ago that I don't like your arbitrariness, usually in other matters, but when it comes to relationships and marriage, I can't accept it if you do the same. If you like me, stay with me. If you like Huang Xinjia, stay with Huang Xinjia and keep in touch with me. You're dating Huang Xinjia again. What do you mean? Yes, what I just said was a bit extreme, but Xiaomin, I don't want to lie to you. That is indeed what I am saying. If our relationship for many years is no match for a third party who suddenly intervenes, then why do we need to be together? I am very happy that you can come today. Really, if you really only have me in your heart, then you can happily stay and attend the engagement banquet of my third brother and third sister-in-law. If you leave, I can also tell you clearly that we will never be together. You know what my character is. If I say so, you will definitely do it. The choice is yours. No matter what choice you make, I will not blame you. I also promise you that I will only marry one woman in my life and I will only be good to one woman. Any girl would find it very embarrassing if her boyfriend said that in front of so many people and was forced to express her opinion. Xiaomin was certainly no exception. She looked at Lin Wenjia in disbelief, wondering how this man could be so unreasonable. Okay, he didn't go to her, but she came, but what did he do to her? Was it just in front of everyone that she couldn't get off the stage? What does it mean to have both sides between him and Huang Xinjia? Does she have it? Now that he had talked about this, she really had to say it. All the forbearance and grievances poured out at this moment. Tears poured out uncontrollably, making her momentarily there was no sound at all. Chu Xia and Fang Jingzi both looked at Lin Wengxiu with speechless faces. Could they be any more stupid? Emotional intelligence is really low, Chu Xia sighed secretly, and then sighed. In this era, most men's attitude towards their significant other is like this. Alas, fortunately, This is not what she encountered. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but feel more sympathy for Xiaomin, and Chuxia held her hand and whispered, "Sister Xiaomin, stop crying. He is just showing off as a man. Don't be as knowledgeable as him. In fact, we are all the same to you. I feel that what he did was wrong. How about we go sit in the side hall for a while and ignore him, okay?" Lin Wenbin was also lecturing his cousin, Wengziu, "Are you out of your mind? If a girl comes to our house to find you, and she tries to please her with kind words, and her family is warm to her, you and I will several brothers even threatened you that if you dare to ignore others, they will sever the relationship between brothers. Can you really drive them away without any regard and disown us?" Lin Venhang, who had not spoken much since returning home last night, answered, "Wengziu, to be fair, Xiaomin is really right. She has a home and a family, so she can't risk everything and ignore everything. With your bad temper, if she really does that, who will she go to if she quarrels with you in the future? Why can't they just ignore you? That's because you don't give them a sense of security, understand? Although I don't like your brother's excessive single-mindedness in relationships, but what he said makes sense. How do you think it would be great for you two brothers to be evenly matched?" Lin Wenbin sighed helplessly. "One of you can do anything just for your lover. No, it's really frustrating to ask your lover to do nothing for you." At this moment, Xiaomin's mood also calmed down, and she looked at Lin Wengziu intently. "We grew up together, you know, from the age of 13, I decided that I wanted to marry you when I grow up. Probably, you don't know why I made this decision at the age of 13, right? Then I'll tell you now in front of everyone. Just because a caterpillar fell on my head, everyone was laughing, but you were the only one who carefully took it off for me. My fear of mollusks is innate, so what is a trivial matter to you is a big deal to me. At that time, I decided that you were the one who could protect me and not bully me, so I wanted to stay with you forever. These years, when we were together, I was the one giving in to you most of the time and we had quarrels. It is always me who takes the initiative to reconcile with you. Well, you are a man who cares about face, so I will take the initiative. But do you know how much I look forward to the time when you take the initiative to coax me? So, this time. Obviously Huang Xinjia and I have nothing, but you said that I was swaying this time, and I was really angry. We have known each other for so many years, don't you know what my personality is? Just because of a few words from my sister, you completely reject me and think I am a free-spirited girl. Is it really appropriate? So I controlled myself not to come to you. I just wanted to see when you would come to me. Unfortunately, I failed in the end. When I heard that my third brother was getting engaged today, I really couldn't sit still. Because I want to be a member of the Lin family, I think I can't pretend not to know this kind of sincerity today, even though I know it clearly. I am coming. I didn't expect that what I heard when I walked in were your words. To be honest, when you were stunned, I still felt happy in my heart. Although you said that about me, you still have me in your heart. It's understandable that a grown man wants to save face. In fact, as long as you apologize to me, even if you don't apologize in front of everyone and only apologize quietly to me, I won't care. Unfortunately, I am too naive. It turns out that I am so insignificant in your heart. It turns out that you don't trust and don't understand me. So, what do I mean by persisting? Probably, in your heart, it doesn't matter which girl you are with, right? With a shy smile, Xiaomin exhaled a long breath. That's good, I finally see the facts clearly. Lin Wengziu, goodbye. After that, she walked out without looking back. Chu Xia quickly pushed Lin Wengziu, who was still in a daze, and said, "Go quickly, why are you just standing there stupidly? I saw you were quite clear before, but why are you so confused at the critical moment?" After a slight hesitation, Lin Wengziu finally gave chase. Chu Xia breathed a sigh of relief. As long as Lin Wengzia was willing to let go, this relationship was not over yet. However, if Lin Wengzia's emotional intelligence continued to be so low, she was really not optimistic about Xiao Min's future. You tell me, why don't you teach your brother a good lesson? Lin Wenbin frowned and looked at Lin Venhang. He is your biological brother. Brother? Lin Venhang smiled bitterly. Can this kind of thing be taught? This is how he and Xiao Min got along since they were young. Can he listen to me? When will Huang Sui come over? Lin Wenbin changed the topic. She's not coming. Huh? Lin Wenbin looked at Lin Venhang in confusion. Why can't you come to a day like this? Brother didn't want to see her, so I didn't let her come over. Lin Venhang sighed. Brother, you have to believe me, I really don't want my family for love. I have also said that if she really does something that is sorry for the Lin family, I don't need any of you to tell me, I will resolve this grudge with my own hands. I hope that I can have my family and my loved ones at the same time. If I can't do that, it's my fate. As it should be, I won't regret my decision. It's Wenji's happy day, don't say this. After saying that, Lin Wenbin coughed again. I didn't say I didn't want to see her. If you are sure that we have wronged her, I won't let her come over. Stop. Besides, even if I don't want to see her, if you marry her in the future, I can still spend the holidays and never come back. Lin Wenjie smiled and interjected, Big brother and second brother, today Jingzi and I are the protagonists, other things must be put aside. If you keep talking about this over there, I will fall out. Yes, it's my fault. I'll punish myself with a drink later. Lin Wenbin said while looking at Fang Jingzi, brother and sister, I'm sorry, the elders are like this, they forget about sincerity when they talk, don't take it personally. Brother, this is not the first time we have met. Am I so petty? Besides, at my age, if I am still so ignorant, it won't be a problem. Fang Jingzi looked at Chu Xia with a smile, otherwise let them chat. Can we change places? Okay, Chu Xia certainly had no objection to this. She also felt that sitting together like this would actually affect everyone's communication, to put it bluntly. There are really not many men in this area who know how to get along with young women. The elders were all chatting lively. In early summer, she went to the side hall with sister Fang Jingzi. When she entered the door, she saw several of Fang Jingzi's cousins sitting in the corner. They were all a little restrained, so she pulled up. Fang Jingzi stopped and said, Third sister-in-law, let the younger brothers and sisters come over. They don't feel comfortable sitting next to the elders. Fang Jingzi had actually noticed the restraint of her cousins and cousins for a long time. I also invited several people to sit with them, but they refused. From this point of view, the juniors of the Fang family are all well educated. I will never approach someone without any hint of sincerity or wink. At this moment, Chu Xia asked them to come and sit together. Of course, Fang Jingzi wanted to do it, so she immediately nodded in agreement and pulled Chu Xia over to greet them. Because of this incident, Fang Jingzi became even more enthusiastic about Chu Xia. Later, Chu Xia couldn't stand her enthusiasm and took the initiative to explain. Third sister-in-law, my grandparents passed away when my father was very young. Therefore, my father was separated from his family when he was very young. Our family has just been reunited with our relatives. So, I am also a child who grew up in an ordinary family. If you don't even have such a wink, then you are really forgetting your roots. I hope my third sister-in-law will treat me how she wants to be treated, okay? Okay, Fang Jingzi smiled sheepishly, I'm obsessed with it. I'm being talked about every day, and I seem to be deeply affected. Third sister-in-law and third brother have a true relationship, no matter what others say. Chu Xia raised a brow. When my husband and I were together, my father had not yet recognized the Lin family, and many people said that I had climbed a high tree. Then so what? Although I can't explain the truth one by one, I believe that justice will come to people's minds over time. Moreover, why do others say that? Isn't the main reason jealousy? If we really mind, we will really win. It's someone's plan. Yes. Yes. Yes, Fang Jing'ai nodded repeatedly. Chu Xia, you are so right. I think so too. In fact, my sister is quite clear-sighted. She is occasionally obsessed with the authorities and worries about gains and losses. Can I ask you a favor? Chu Xia nodded. Okay, you tell me, as long as I can do it, I will definitely help. She had a good impression of Fang's sisters, so she naturally agreed happily. If after my sister marries into the Lin family, her performance is not good enough because of other people's comments, please give me a few nice words. To be honest, it is not easy for her to persist to this day. Of course there is no problem with this. My uncle and his family have very good personalities. Your worries should be unnecessary. However, you can rest assured. Chu Xia smiled at her. I will go to school in the stable soon. There are many opportunities to meet, so I will definitely be able to do what I promised you. Which school is it? Fang Jing'ai asked curiously. A medical university. Is it medical university, eh? Fang Jing'ai repeated it unconsciously. Yes. That's such a coincidence. Fang Jing'ai said with a smile. We have a neighbor who was also admitted to medical university. Her name is Li Xinlai and she has a very good personality. I'll introduce you to her later, okay? Okay. Before he entered school, he found a classmate. Chu Xia was also very happy and nodded in agreement. School starts in a few days, why don't you ask her to meet you this afternoon? Perhaps realizing that she was too enthusiastic, Fang Jing'ai explained, she is a very good girl. I just hope that you will be successful after you enter school. I have a companion so that I can adapt to the new life faster. I have no utilitarian purpose, really. I know. Chu Xia looked at her funny. Do you often do good things and be misunderstood by others? You explained a lot of things before I said anything. The gap is too big, it's a conditioned reflex. Fang Jing'ai smiled sheepishly. I was talking about my sister just now. When it's my turn, it's the same.